Razor,
Yes.
what is the significance of what they're doing here? Is this just, besides just to stretch this out, because we know they love to do that longer and longer every time.
Well, the audio goes beyond the Marvel Studios logo, though. This is plot.
Oh yeah, you're right. It does. This goes right into
This
the opening
is
sequence.
this is all to establish. Like these are all familiar quotes to us. We are seeing the MCU timeline, and then we zoom all the way out of the universe, and we're still zooming.
And then we pop.
And then there was like another universe next to it for some reason. And we're zooming in on that one. But we're also hearing all the same quotes, so it's like still the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, because all the timelines are identical at this point, right?
And then, yeah.
Because of the TVA.
Right.
Because the TVA prunes the ones that change too much.
And presumably, like right now, we're looking at the sacred timeline.
Yeah, we are literally seeing a line made of time in the background of the castle.
Welcome to Bloodborne, everybody. I've heard a lot of people say that this shit looks like Bloodborne. It's true. I thought the same thing when I saw it.
I suppose that's an apt comparison. I don't think FromSoft owns the trademark on castles floating in space.
They do not, but they have made some really, really, really popular versions of it lately.
That's true. It's in
so
the zeitgeist.
Look at that. That's where the fucking Witches of Hemwick live. Okay, anyway.
You know, I really like the art style of the castle, it being all black with these gold cracks.
Yes.
That's like a real Japanese style of like pottery, I think, where they'll break stuff and then they'll put it back together with this like gold lacquer, and then like the idea is that these cracks, instead of hiding them, they are part of the history of the piece. We are celebrating the idea that items have an age and a history and it means something.
Is that
whereas normally when you break stuff you try to hide the evidence that it was ever broken.
Yeah, you make it sound like it's Vision's ship of whatever CCs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fitting for the castle of the man who controls time and decides breaks and repairs it, let us say.
I thought it was just like marbling.
It's kind of like marbling. But
whatever it is looks cool.
Yeah.
That's what's most important. It looks cool.
It does look cool.
Look at this place. And then like Bloodborne even more. We just keep going.
Now,
or it's Castlevania, really. I mean,
it is kind of Castlevania. Honestly, like I can't look at a castle in the Marvel universe and not wonder, was this Doctor Doom?
Yeah, that is the thing here.
It's kind of a problem. The thing is, for the character,
that was the sickest jump scare. That was so tight.
That one actually didn't get me, but I've seen comments on the internet. It got a lot of people.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Good work, guys.
GG's Marvel. Dude, Miss Minutes is a threat.
Well, you know, one of the more popular theories for the end boss was Miss Minutes.
It was, and she still seems like...
I mean, she's definitely up there, but I always figured, no, she's the bad guy's Jarvis, is what it was always going to be.
I think it's fun because we learned in this episode, like, she's been doing and working with, and being in service to the TVA and to Ravonna. But in this one, she's like, you know what? Actually, I don't work for you, bitch. Here's all you're getting. I'm not taking your orders. Bye.
You work for me.
Yeah. That's actually sick. It's like, this has all been... I've been cooperating with you up until now.
Look, the guy who's really in charge thinks you'd like this information better instead of the info you asked for.
It's what you're going to get. You're going to get it, you're going to like it. Now this. I mean...
So what's interesting about this scene is there's footage in the trailer for the show that the show doesn't use of Loki on the throne of Asgard. And I kind of thought maybe like there would be a point where they'd take the deal here and we'd see what those lives look like, and then they'd wake up out of the dream, so to speak, and decide, wait, no, this isn't what I want, and then get back to the plot. But they actually didn't do that.
Hmm. I like these clock faces on the statues. What's
I
red?
I was wondering what these statues are, who they're supposed to be of, because these two, I mean, other than clocks for faces, they don't really look like anybody.
Yeah, yeah. These are just clock faces.
I wonder, I wonder if the real timekeeper, he who remains, did they call him that yet?
I don't know. I don't think she has. I think she's about to.
I think she's about to say it. But I wonder if at some point in the multiversal war, he who remains had this is what his soldiers dress like
Like
with the clocks for faces.
shadow priests. I mean, that'd be pretty. They're pretty tight.
I would say I would call them the prototype for Minutemen.
That's a good call. That's fair. Look at the fucking ring. God damn it.
Oh, oh, you betrayed your friend, and you're vaguely maybe sad about it.
I don't know what she is, man.
One of the villains. That's what she
Oh, well,
is.
okay. Real piece of work. Bye.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. That's another one of these shots that made me barf. Like,
You don't like when they touch the camera?
no, the past two episodes when they've done the spinny here, it's a little, it's a little, it's a little bit. It's a
You
little.
know what? I don't get car sick or motion sick or anything. I do get vertigo if I'm in a high place.
Okay, that makes.
Uh,
It's
I'm really bad with heights, but moving and spinning not so much. I'm
stuff
fine with that.
like motion sickness has gotten for me a lot worse as I've gotten older. Like within the
Mm.
past 10 years, it's been way worse than it was before that. I don't
I
know why
wonder
the
if
fuck's
it's
going on.
connected to like eyesight, like as your eyes get worse as you get older, and like
That
you
could
need
be.
glasses as an old man, maybe because things get blurrier and it's
That would
yeah.
make sense. Now this is interesting here because one of these statues has been pushed over and
Yeah,
broken,
it implies, first of all, that at some
and
point there
these
were
three are the.
real
Yeah, yeah,
timekeepers,
yeah. These three are
and that there was
timekeepers.
a fourth one, and there was a falling out.
And I like that type of storytelling.
Yeah, yeah.
Just look at
It
this
it
shit.
definitely raises questions.
You know who
So
else tells stories like that?
who else
From
tells
Soft
stories like
Games.
that? That's
I'm
true.
just telling you,
That's
man.
true. They love the environmental
They
mysteries at
do.
approach to narrative.
Now this guy, it's
This
been
guy.
it's been really fun for everybody who's like, if you know the casting, as soon as the door opens, it's like, oh shit, it's Kang. Okay. For everybody else, it's like, who? What? The hell?
Well, that's the funny thing. They never say his name.
No, no, they don't.
Now, from the outfit he's wearing with the gold medallion on the chest and the purple cape, this is the Immortus version of Kang.
Hmm.
Um, I do want to say though, I was looking up on the internet pictures of Kang,
Yes.
and I came across one from the comics of Immortus working with slash for the Timekeepers, and I actually did not know that the Timekeepers exist in the comics,
Oh, they do.
and that they look exactly like the three robots did in the
Wow.
show. It's weird to discover like how accurate to the source material this show actually is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised that. I'm not surprised that I'm not surprised that I didn't know it. Yeah, I am. I think that's kind of the thing, though. Like, it's. I'm not that familiar with that shit, so I didn't know they were timekeepers either. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, and they look like the space lizards. One has the mustache shaped lip, and
Yeah, the walrus shit. Whatever that
yeah,
dude
yeah.
was. Flash confirmed. He's a mutant. He's
Well,
Quicksilver, dude.
no, he controls all of time.
Nah, he's Quicksilver.
It's super speed has a lot of connections to time travel.
It does. It really does. Once you get into physics, shit gets
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Um,
That was actually in the Flash comics. That was the difference between Flash and one of the versions of Zoom. Is that while Flash runs fast, Zoom only appears to be running fast, but in reality, he can make time slower for himself, which is really the same thing, but
Yeah,
looking at it from a different angle.
it is. Yeah. Is this T?
It might be T.
Can't really tell.
What do you think? If you ruled all of time and lived at the end of the universe, what would you drink?
Dr. Pepper. Straight up.
I think I would drink a lot of whiskey.
A lot of whiskey. I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be a thing too.
Do you think if you control all of time, you can rewind a hangover?
That's interesting. I don't know, but if you are in that position of being there in solitude for such a long time, do you want to skip the hangover?
Mm, I don't know. No amount of loneliness could make me want to be physically ill.
No. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting.
In fact, if I control all of time, the very first thing I would do is rewind my body to the age 18 so I don't have all these fucking sore joints and shit.
And stay there forever. Yes, the hangovers
Yeah,
weren't a problem at that point. It was fine.
they were not.
Um, this was a efficient way to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I like their strat.
It's a clever gotcha for the.
And she don't have to talk. Like she barely has to say anything. He's like, "Here,
Yeah,
look,
just look at it. There's the evidence
just
right there. You can
look,
figure it out.
look." Okay, tell a friend.
So I guess this is the real Ravana on the Sacred Timeline.
She
She's a school teacher named
Rebecca, I think.
Rebecca Tormanet, I think that diploma says.
Yeah, something like that. It looks like yeah.
Yeah.
Ohio State University.
All right.
God, purple.
So she's a school teacher from 2018.
Again, time is weird in the TVA.
You're a flea on the back of a dragon. In for one hell of a ride. But you did manage to hang on. I guess that counts.
So I didn't know what to expect from how they would characterize Kang slash Immortus, what personality they'd give him.
Indeed, I was wondering that too.
I really like what they went with. This kind of the guy is goofy because he's clearly gone stir crazy
Yes.
from living at the end of time all by himself for who knows how many eons.
He has a like. I mean, I've been saying it the whole thing for one reason or another, but he has a strong Elders of the Universe vibe. He reminds me a lot of Jeff Goldblum and Benicio del Toro's bullshit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a Goldblum in there, maybe.
There's a little bit. I mean, there's just these quirky dudes that are super old and laughing at awkward times and kind of
Yeah,
nuts.
there's very much a sense of like, what do you have to be embarrassed about when you're this old and you've seen
Oh,
everything?
yeah.
What are you
They're all like super eccentric.
Yeah, why would you take anything too seriously?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Which is kind of my approach to life.
It is. Yeah,
Already,
I
like
think it happens.
I'm
when you
already
get older
there.
anyway, right? Like
It
most
didn't. It
people
didn't.
do.
It did not take me several millennia of living alone and witnessing the history of the universe to get there.
As the years like smooth around your edges and shit, you stop to care so much about what people think. You're just like, oh fuck it, I don't
Yeah,
care.
it don't matter.
It don't matter.
None of this
I
matters.
don't care. You gonna judge me? Get out of here, bitch.
But that's interesting because when we see other less immortus-y versions of Kang, I hope we get to see him with different personalities
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
that they
yeah.
really let the actor here, Jonathan Majors is his name, show his range. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
finding out what other Kangs are like.
I thought the same. Like, you can't have Kang doing this whenever he's one of the the villainous Kang the Conqueror types.
Yeah, this guardian at the end of time, Goofy, yes. Conqueror, maybe less so.
Yeah.
I love that he starts referring to like storytelling tropes.
He does, but that's been a thing throughout the whole show, though.
In the right mindset.
That is a thing that we've done.
Finish the quest.
That's true, but he's
Right. So it's all a game.
he's very upfront about it.
He is.
A manipulation. Interesting.
We saw everybody's scripts in the first episode. Let me see more scripts now.
Yeah.
Sylvie!
Yeah.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Do you think you're even capable of trusting anyone?
It's an interesting approach to have Loki interacting with guys who see the universe as storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the comics, when he was kid Loki and then teenager Loki, and then just kind of Hiddleston-y young handsome Loki, he went through this period of deciding, I don't want to be a villain anymore. I want people to stop calling me the god of trickery and start calling me the god of stories.
You know what'd happen if we didn't prune the
That does
timeline?
sound like a teenager thing to do.
Chaos. Free will? Only one person gets free will. The one in charge.
This chick's
So,
hot, dude.
She's about to get up and leave here, and we don't find out where she's going.
We don't. Look at that
You think
computer.
she's so she's either going in search of Immortus,
Mhm.
No, you betrayed me.
or she's going in search of whatever he told Miss Minutes to put on her tempat, which we don't know what that is.
Which we don't know yet.
Suffer a crisis of faith and turn to those
I wonder
peons of friendship.
if Immortus figured, well, pretty good odds that Loki and Sylvie are going to kill me.
I didn't betray
Here's my backup plan. I'll give Ravonna the information needed to put me back in place or something like that.
That is very, very likely. She was
Maybe.
asking for all the information that she had on the beginning of the TVA.
Yeah.
That's what she asked Miss Minutes for. Maybe that's where he sent her, though. Like more like the beginning of time or some shit
Well,
like that.
I wonder if he sent her to find the Kang who will become him,
You're of no
Could be.
danger to me.
like the sacred timeline version of Kang.
Come on, man. Don't. What's with her parries, dude?
Well, he's just an analyst, and she used to be a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that, remember?
A really shitty one.
Yeah, she wasn't very good with kids.
No,
is the
no.
thing? Like she got bodied by step on their foot and bite their hand.
I mean, listen, man.
Where are you gonna go?
Parry these teeth.
In search of free will.
In search of free will. And she just said that the only person who gets free will is the one in charge.
She did.
Moral objections to what the TVA does.
But she doesn't seem to know the one in charge specifically.
No, she's either going to look for the one in charge or to become the one in charge.
Yeah.
Or deceptive. But the mission never was.
Which, either way, loops back around to that source material stuff where she's Kang's girlfriend.
It does.
Everything burns. And what are you so afraid of?
So we talked in previous episodes
Mhm.
about who the villain should be and how that would affect Loki
We did.
and Sylvie's character development.
Mm-hmm.
Named by many people.
And there was certainly a position of, well, if it's another Loki, that would sort of make it the most Loki-centric thing, because it's the Loki show and it's about how Loki reacts to Loki, right?
It is. Thus far.
But
As a name.
I feel that those opinions were colored by the expectation that this thing would be self-contained one season.
Yes, they were, definitely.
I think Kang works so much better once you know that this
TVA.
introducing a new villain we don't know about
Earth
in the last episode makes more sense if that episode is the setup for season 2.
It does make much more
Because-
sense that way.
And there are certainly people on the internet who are still salty about it, and I think those people are salty for similar reasons to them being salty when Evan Peters wasn't Fox Silver or
What
Mephisto wasn't.
specifically are they
And
salty about?
the fact that they predicted something and it turned out wrong. They're just
Oh.
kind of I mean, certainly there can be valid reasons to be upset by those things, but there's also just a lot of people who just get mad when what they predict isn't what happens.
Absolutely.
That is a thing that occurs.
And I mean, like, me, for example, I would definitely say that I was one of those people. That well, not one of the butthurt people. One of the people
No.
that was like, well, I don't think it's gonna be King in there. Maybe not.
Right.
Probably not. I was wrong.
Just because the big argument for the people who have a more valid reason to be upset is, well, they didn't set him up. And first of all,
Which
I
is
kind of
also
disagree with
arguable,
that.
yes.
They set up
Damn,
that
look at all these
someone
pictures.
created the timekeepers, and the reason the TVA exists is to prevent a war between multiverses.
Yes.
All of that is still true. That was the setup.
That was the setup. There's been plenty of setup. There's not like that's
Yeah.
not an argument.
Right. But the Kang, quote unquote, came out of nowhere. That's not a problem if you're doing a show with seasons, because that's how most of TV works.
Definitely.
If you're watching an adventure show like Star Trek or Supernatural or Buffy or, normal network TV shows, which we're not used to thinking of the Disney Plus shows as, but this one is.
Yes.
They often do the last episode of a season with a cliffhanger that sets up the next season. That's just how TV works.
It is.
There's nothing unnatural about waiting until now to introduce Kang.
Knowing that there's a season 2 changes the whole equation. So that would definitely would have changed my opinions on things. But I was definitely not the way that I thought it was gonna go. Really, well, somewhat. I was definitely wrong about Kang and his importance and significance in this story at the end here.
Right.
Because obviously he is very significant. And it works. Like, they did it in a way that it works well.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I was predicting Kang from the first episode,
Yes.
so... Like, I certainly saw the argument for it should be like an evil King Loki at the end, if this show was a self-contained show.
Yeah. But it's...
Now, if that had been the case, I would have preferred... Like, if it were me and I was making a one-season show, I'd be like, okay, it is a Loki, but he uses the name Immortus just to get it in there.
Yeah, I agree.
That would have been what I did.
Sure.
Which we talked about last episode. But I prefer more seasons over that, because if this had been one season, the prevailing question when it's over would be like, okay, well, where does Loki show up next? Are they just going to throw him right back into the Thor movies? And that feels boring and expected.
Yes.
And it kind of undoes how Thor has coped with everybody dying in the past several Thor movies.
That reminds me, yes.
Like, if he just like, Loki has, from Thor's perspective, come back from the dead like 3 times already.
Right.
So if this Loki runs into Thor, it's just like, Jesus Christ, again?
Yeah, it is.
So Loki continuing to have his own show, his own corner of the MCU, sidesteps that problem.
Somewhere I heard today that he's on the IMDb now for Doctor Strange 2.
There was a rumor, like I saw a website yesterday had an article like Loki expected to show up in Doctor Strange 2, but I don't think they had any actual confirmation.
Okay.
It was pure speculation, but everybody read that article and took it as though it was confirmation.
Okay.
Even though the site was, and it was like one of those major Hollywood news sites, like there's a billion of rumor clickbait sites out there now. There's no point naming them by name. They're all the same. And they all copy each other's articles anyway, so they're literally the same at the end of it. It wasn't like Kevin Feige told them, or they had any kind of like documents. It was purely them guessing, because the finale just came out and they know Doctor Strange is going to be about the multiverse, so they're assuming. And I'm guessing whoever put him on the IMDb page did it because they took that article as fact.
Yeah, that could be the case.
Because IMDb, much like a wiki, is
Editable.
anyone can contribute. Yeah,
Yes, they
editable. So yeah, I wouldn't say that that's a sure bet just yet.
No. It would make sense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, but
But it's
I
not
also
like
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't show up because that movie will probably come out before season 2.
one would think. Yes.
Yeah, so I also that movie's getting pretty stuffed with characters.
Isn't everything now
So you just
Well,
all the Spider-Men?
prune.
all of the Spider-Men is at least spider-centric.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's two options. One, you kill me and destroy all this, and you don't just have one devil, you have an infinite amount. Or you two run the thing.
And this is the part where they bring in, like, they make it Loki significant.
Why would you
Yes.
control?
Why don't you two run it?
Yeah.
I'm old and tired, and I want to retire. And of all of the people in all of the multiverse, I think only the two of you could do my job.
Both of you. It has to be both of you, apparently.
Right.
That's the
Which
thing.
so that's another thing I wanted to talk about regarding Loki and Sylvie's character development throughout the series and our sort of predictions last episode of how it will end for them. And certainly this is also something that more seasons affects because it's not the end for them. Their character development is far from over. So Immortus is certainly pro the ship.
He is, but he also, I mean, he's interested, but he knows it doesn't matter. If they kill him,
Sure.
then he comes back and he does this again, and then he asks them
Yeah.
again.
Killing him potentially just creates a time loop where we end up right back here.
Right.
Although certainly
I do like his thing here.
grow up, Sylvie.
I mean, like, you know, I was kind of feeling the same way. I'm not diminishing her, like, deal or whatever, but it's like, hey, listen, whole universe at stake here. Shut up talking about yourself for a minute.
I also don't necessarily think that yelling at her to grow up had the desired effect because she kind of gets more belligerent.
She does, yeah. She swells up at it, and like it probably goads her more, but
Yeah.
still, like, you know, big picture. I like this part. This is fun. It's fun to watch his acting changes too. Here,
Yeah.
he does some shit. He starts stuttering.
We just crossed the threshold.
It's interesting how much of the TVA belief system turned out to be true. Like, he has not figured out the ending yet.
It's true.
Like, all that stuff about how the timekeepers plan out the sacred timeline and what's at the end of it all. 100% true. It's just that substitute the phrase the timekeepers for he who remains.
And I mean, like, what's the point in lying if you don't have to?
8, 9, 10 seconds ago.
Sure, we can tell a story that's pretty, the TVA story that's fairly accurate.
I mean, honestly, given his position and motivations and stuff here, there's no reason to lie because he really does just want to retire and fuck off and find somebody else who can do the job.
That's it. This is what happens at the end of time. And now you're just going to sit there with all that freedom and let us decide your fate. Yes. What's the worst that can happen? You either take over and my life's work continues, or plunge a blade in my chest and an infinite amount of the start another multiversal war, and I just end up right back here anyways.
I just end up right back here anyways.
Baby.
It's some
Just another lie.
decent fatalism,
Another
but I mean,
I would say I think the fact that Loki and Sylvie know what's going to happen now has the potential to interrupt that proposed time loop. Which is certainly, what the following seasons will depict.
it is, yeah.
I like how his wrist device, his version of a tempad or whatever you want to call it, has the same aesthetic as the entire
does.
castle.
Yeah.
I'm curious how you interact with it
It's like a
if
Cold
it's
War
just a
photo.
bunch of cracked rock. Like,
It's magic and tech,
you can't.
dude.
Sure, but how do you know which buttons you're pressing if you can't see them?
You don't have to know.
That's
It
my
knows.
question.
It
Okay.
knows.
Well, if it's mind control, then you don't need to press it.
What are you doing?
Sylvie, hang on a moment. Let's just talk about it.
Well, how about we finish
She
off
really
this
loses her shit here.
Yeah.
Damn, that Fujin grab was tight. I love that shit.
What if he's saying the truth?
So what?
I believe him.
You believe what?
They
Alien boogeymen are gonna turn up just because we give people free will. He's a liar.
I always feel like it's a little weird when they choose to do like the force grab and the green blasty stuff as opposed to when they don't, because we saw a couple episodes ago that his force powers or whatever you want to call them are strong enough to
Dictator, what fills the void?
Caught that
lift
building.
like that giant building,
Yeah.
on Lamentus.
It's a thing.
That's not it, no.
I feel like you could conduct this entire fight as like Gandalf versus Saruman, like just force pushing each other.
Heard us both.
I mean, which
What if by taking
I
him
wouldn't
out,
prefer, but you could.
unleashing something even worse?
I mean, she doesn't have that though. I don't think that.
Well, I feel like it's probably a combination of budget
Bless you from my heart.
and what would be more exciting as a sword fight.
Yes.
I just for me personally, I would like to see them use magic more often, so they could at least be swinging
After all,
swords that are on fire.
I agree, especially with Loki. I mean, in general, Loki should
plan comes together.
be using more magic. We've talked about
But you
this.
never trusted me.
Like all throughout the MCU, it would be nice.
What's the point?
Yeah,
It's
what
an
if you
interesting conversation.
came up with some clever magic combos, like force push them like a pop up,
She
and then
had
like
one a second ago, or maybe she hasn't done it yet.
she hasn't done it yet, but like just
And I can't be trusted.
instead of pushing backwards, push their feet up into the air, and then like tackle them.
Yeah, she meter burns this shit in a second. They should do that more often.
When you have powers.
Here she goes. Fucking do it. Beaner burn it. Boom.
Well, yeah, she kicks him and then blasts him
Yeah.
while he's in the air. But I'm just thinking of
I
all
mean-
the kinds of, like, you could really just fuck someone up if you could just bye gravity.
You can, yeah. She really goes. I mean, I get it.
I mean, obviously, she's since she was a child, this is all she's ever wanted. So
Yeah, but quit being a child.
I do. I think it's a little awkward to have the female one just become irrational at the end of
agree.
the.
I agree.
I don't know if that's a great look, but I can't say it doesn't fit the character.
That's a thing.
Sylvie, stop. Stop.
That was a nice teleport.
How did she stop so like?
That was.
If I was swinging and a guy teleported right to the edge of my sword, his head would come off. I would not be able to stop in time.
It's
The momentum.
It's a thing. I mean, ultimately, what she's doing here, she's like pulling a Star Lord in Infinity War, right?
Sure, sure. I think
What you feel.
I think I
This is a good
forgive
scene.
Star Lord for it a little more because have
was
witnessed more of his the cause of his emotional distress.
It's true.
And also because, see, the reason the Star-Lord thing never bothered me, even though it bothers thousands of people on the internet, is because Doctor Strange told us that this is the way the timeline is supposed to go. Star-Lord freaking out and bashing Thanos with the face it leads to the only version of things where they win.
It's true.
He's doing the right thing.
But like, I mean, this is a good scene, by the way. Good acting, people.
So, Disney just put incest on screen, technically.
They did, sort of. I mean, I still say it's
pulled
more...
the trigger.
Like, I still say it's more masturbatory. But,
yeah, it's a little of both. It's a little.
You know,
both.
it's icky. It's something out there.
I'm surprised they had the balls.
It's true. No, like it has to be said. Like Star-Lord's situation, it was sudden. He he didn't know about that shit, and then he did, and that's definitely a change in your situation. This isn't sudden for her.
You know, it was an emotional reaction that it was completely understandable.
It was.
Sylvie has lived with her situation for long enough that I think she could have a conversation instead of going straight to the sword.
And this one is like, you're okay. You understand. You've sat with the situation long enough. You understand that you killing this guy is more important than the fate of the entire universe. Yeah, it's more important. You're choosing yourself over.
I think she's about to realize because he.
Oh, I know.
He goes out smiling and winking at her. I'll see you again soon.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I think regret is gonna set in immediately here.
Yeah.
She's gonna realize, oh, he was not lying.
And there's also just the like fucking futile realization of now what?
Yeah, the now what is,
what are you gonna do?
Strong.
Have you ever thought beyond this point in your life?
He took that sword to the chest like a champ, I have to say.
He did. He did. He was ready. This looks like a cool stage.
I like the literal timeline outside and how we can literally see it branching as soon as he's dead.
It's really fun because from this point on in this show, it illustrates the thing that's been confusing a lot of people about how time works with the story.
Right.
Because this is happening all over the timeline.
Yep. And there it is. It's all past the red line.
Yeah. It's you start changing it, it changes fast and everywhere, retroactively and into the future.
For all time.
Always.
So what does the TVA do now?
That is the question.
That is the question.
They have to have some other like some different mandate.
I mean, fighting against a multiverse of Kangs, I guess, would qualify as a big role to spend the rest of eternity doing.
This is interesting. I'm gonna pause it right here. I used my fucking time stone. Damn it! Because when I was watching this for the first time, I was like, "There's not that much time left." You know, and we're sitting here with Loki doing this. Like this story, like it's. I don't think that they can make it to a good finish line right now to resolve all of this shit.
You didn't think they had time?
No.
They're
because
spending precious seconds on this long reaction shot.
It's long. It is long.
Just sit there and be sad with him. Eat up all the screen time.
But like I didn't know about the season 2 shit.
Right?
So
No. The season 2 thing. It makes all the difference.
It was an interesting roller coaster ride here.
Well,
you're gonna be fine, Loki.
I told her I loved her and she kicked me out.
Yeah. I mean, women. It's that same shit. I said it before. The same shit like Black Widow did to the Hulk.
Well, so we talked about this last episode of episodes. If the series had ended with Loki admitting his feelings for Sylvie only for her to die, and then the option we didn't think of was or reject him. You know, that shot, the numbers on the walls were backwards.
Were they?
I think they just flipped the footage accidentally.
Yeah, that wouldn't be surprising. Yeah.
I also wonder though if they did it on purpose because we're
What?
about to find out.
It's done, Mobius. We made a terrible mistake.
It's weird hearing
This-
Odin talk loudly.
We freed the time.
This Mobius and B-15
Beyond the storm. A citadel-
might not be our Mobius and B-15.
They may not.
Like, as soon as there's a multiverse,
Okay?
there's an infinite number of TVAs,
That's right.
too.
That's what I've been
Theoretically.
saying all
Theoretically.
along.
We need to prepare. Take it easy.
This is how it works. Immediately, all this shit's changed, retroactively included.
What's your name?
Boots on the ground now, archives.
Yeah, look at that shit over there.
Are you?
You see that shit?
We're about to see that shit.
You should just end the season right there. Just cut.
Just don't show what he's looking
Don't
at.
show that shit.
There it is. And significant about this statue of He Who Remains is that he's wearing the Kang outfit
He
now.
is.
Different from the Immortus outfit that he wore in person in the episode.
Yeah. This ain't that guy. This guy.
Look how comic accurate it is. Like, he's
Yeah,
not
it
wearing
is,
the blue
yeah.
mask helmet, but everything from the neck down is right.
Marvel has hit such a fun point now where like they don't give a fuck about that shit that bugged me about like the early movies, like Thor shit, and them being a little scared about shit. It's like, no, fuck you, we're Marvel. We don't have to like make this shit look like Injustice costumes and bullshit. Like, no, dude,
It is nice that we've hit that point.
it is really nice.
Because, man, an Injustice-style Kang
Come
would be
on.
so fucking ugly looking.
Come on, don't do it. I mean, like, I don't love his costume to begin with.
I kind of like it. It's sort of like a Greek or Roman tunic, and then he's also got like a funny collar.
Yeah, the weird, the mask that covers
Well, the
everything
funny
but your
colors,
face.
the collar has kind of like an Egyptian look to it, because he's been an Egyptian pharaoh.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Kang has done a lot of things in a lot of time periods.
I mean, like, yeah, I don't love the original costumes of the thing, but it's not going to help them by making them into Injustice costumes. Like,
I wonder if he ever will put on the helmet with the blue face mask.
I'm sure he will.
It's a very square helmet. It makes his head look kind of like a small MODOK.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like they do with Captain Marvel whenever she goes into like space travel mode,
Right.
and that
right.
like shit comes out over her eyes and her mouth area to let her breathe and shit.
Well, I could see them doing a thing where like instead of it being a blue mask, it's like a screen comes down
Yeah,
to
that's
make
what
it
I'm
like
saying,
an
yeah.
airtight space helmet, and
Yeah,
the screen just makes it look blue. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's.
I'd be fine with that. You know what my favorite MCU costume of all time is?
What's that?
Mysterio in the motion capture suit.
In the motion capture suit?
In the motion capture suit.
Why the motion capture?
Because it's literally a motion capture
Oh,
suit. Like
okay.
it's not fancied up. It's like literally motion cap. So it's like
Yeah.
it fits what he's doing because it's being
It is.
hidden by the special effects projections.
Yeah.
He's just it's a little it's almost fourth wall-y, but
Almost.
like in a clever it's like in a cute way. I like that.
It is. Yeah.
I think nothing has ever like fit the theme of the character better than that.
This is a
'Cause-
fun way to handle this thing here.
Yeah.
This is
yeah,
not
look
their
at that.
typical versions that they do in the movies. Loki will return and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, usually it's just you have to sit through the whole credits and then some white text fades in at the very end.
No.
This is more of the show's flavor
Well,
to have the stamp.
that and we're not in that timeline anymore. Everything works differently now.
This is we're now in the universe where they tease season 2 with a stamp.
Yeah, it's thematically different, man. Everything's changed. That intro sequence is gonna be longer than ever.
Yeah.
Brand new.
They're gonna show it like multiple times.
They are. Man.
You know what would be hilarious is if they filmed just the shots from the Marvel Studios logo, but with different actors for every character.
I'd be down with that. That'd be cool.
Like you're flipping through all the things in the Marvel logo, and Iron Man for 5 seconds is Tom Cruise.
That would be tight. You could see like Matt Damon doing more Loki shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, get back in there. Hey, come back normal. Hey.
The quality is a little weird. What did you do?
There we go. Okay.
There it is.
One other thing that I think is very important to point out.
Why am I locked in here?
You were disloyal to the TVA.
You were in the Timekeeper's chamber.
What was I going to point out?
And why do you think that changes?
So,
That changes everything.
this episode,
Yes.
going right back, not that far. It doesn't fucking matter. Any of these points. Here we go, right here.
Okay.
But the house in general and all this whole episode, I kind of think this is the Magneto-shaped door.
You think this is the Magneto-shaped door?
I think that we found the Magneto-shaped door.
You think that mutants are going to come over from an alternate universe?
No. I think that the mutants are going to have been there from the beginning in this new timeline.
Oh, okay. I mean, obviously, I'm in favor of a position that mutants have always been there. It's just that Professor X goes, "Don't go fight Thanos. They don't need us. Don't expose yourselves over that crap."
That's
the outlook I favor. I want mutants to have always existed, but Xavier's very strict about keeping them hidden. And then their first movie and event happens that is beyond his power to keep hidden. And that's all it is.
It's still, like, plausible that was in the mainline MCU anyway. That's fine.
Yeah, that's all I want.
But, like, still, this fucking house and this bullshit here, like, I think it's the mechanic that's gonna give us that shit at some point. Somehow.
I think some people would have a problem with the idea that we've been watching one timeline forever, and then from now on we're watching a different timeline.
Well, that's the problem, though, because
I don't
think our timeline's going to stay the same, though. When I say our timeline, I guess I'm talking about the sacred timeline, even though there's not one anymore.
Well, I mean, there's still. So obviously, there was always a multiverse. Like we established, there was a universe where Loki was born a girl that existed for long enough for that girl Loki to grow to the age of, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 or however old that child was, before the TVA pruned it. So there's always been alternate universes. They only prune the ones that get too different.
It's well, I don't know if that's how that. It's so weird the way that they try to describe that shit. But like,
sure.
The thing I said where the TVA was not there at the beginning of time. They had to start at some point that wasn't the beginning of time. So originally, if the first passed through, there were still deviations and multiversal shit going on.
Right, but obviously because they're time travelers, they can prune things that happened before they existed.
Right, exactly. So they're showing us things that they have gone back and pruned since then, and they never pop back up again, like all these crazy Loki variants and whatnot.
Right, but if the TVA is no longer doing that job, then branches can appear literally at any point in history.
Yes.
Again, like they all normally would.
Right. Yeah.
And obviously, another thing to consider is that What If is the next show out, which is about actually looking at all those alternate universes.
It is.
Or some select ones that are particularly interesting because a change in them is especially radical.
It is.
For example, what if Peggy Carter took the serum instead of Steve?
What if she did?
Or what if, for some reason, Yondu kidnapped T'Challa instead of
that's a
Peter
weird
Quill?
one.
I really want to know why the fuck that would happen.
It's a really weird one, but I'll watch. And that is going to be a show on Disney Plus.
Yes, that's coming.
So that's one that we can do
That's
too.
coming soon. That's the next show.
It is, yeah. I didn't always know that it was going to be a series, a show like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be good. We can do that shit too.
Yeah.
T'Challa, Star-Lord.
But so yeah, I do think because we're looking at a season 2, the choice to have Loki and Sylvie separate under less than positive circumstances. The Loki basically gets his heart broken.
He does, but
Which is
you can
well,
tell
that's the interesting
that he
thing.
understands. He's not mad at her. He's like
right.
He gets why she did what she did.
Which that is an important distinction, because obviously, as we talked about last episode, most of Loki's evil has because he's felt alone. Because a person in that situation would be afraid to put themselves out there, because when you expose your heart, that's when somebody stabs it, right?
Yes.
And so he's exposed his heart to Sylvie, and she's gone and stabbed it. So how will he react to that?
It seems pretty clear to me that he still wants to find her and help her.
Right. Obviously, he's not bitter.
Right.
He doesn't see it as a total rejection.
And like, it's interesting. Like, Loki has never been a character that you think of when you think of super empathetic or sympathetic, either way, of a character.
Right.
But Sylvie especially, it's pretty clear and understandably why she's really not empathetic. Because she's never interacted with people that much. So
yeah, she was a child when she was forced to live as a fugitive for the rest of her life.
So stopping to consider things from other people's points of view and how they do things, not really something that she's had a lot of experience with. And she said as much in that last episode. It's not a revelation, but still, that's all the stuff that got us to that point that we're at now and gave us this. Thank you, Sylvie. It's also important to note that she's a Loki, and much like a Loki, she's kind of caused a Ragnarok.
That's from a certain point of view true.
It is.
She has Lokis are destined to cause apocalypses.
Yeah. They destroy worlds on purpose or otherwise.
I mean, Thor told him to cause Ragnarok.
He did,
because they wanted to kill Hela.
It's true. But I mean, yeah, he did that in mythology too. I think he still summoned Surtur there.
I believe he is the ultimate cause in Norse mythology. More for malicious reasons.
Yeah. He goes and he fights Heimdall and they kill each other.
Yeah, he's not so much a sympathetic character in Norse myth.
Yeah. But yeah, that's an important part of Loki's nature or job or whatever, and it's fun because we get to have that with Sylvie now too. Still very much being a Loki.
Indeed.
So I liked that choice.
Yeah. I think this. We talked about last episode. If the finale were to drop the ball, episode 5 would live as my favorite episode of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say very much so that this episode did not drop the ball.
No.
So at this point, I mean, there's still a lot of great stuff in episode 5. Fucking classic Loki making the illusion of Asgard and all that kind of stuff. Still a great episode. So I'm not gonna say immediately that episode 6 is my new favorite. but it was really good. I'm very happy. I think this series has absolutely blown WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier out of the water. Not that I disliked either of those,
Right,
and
right.
obviously you can go back and listen to previous episodes and hear my opinions on those shows. So far, Loki has been much better, even than like a good show.
It has.
It is very very pleased.
All these ads
Gave me
going out about it being the number one show
literally
in the
everything I
world.
wanted. Gave me literally everything I wanted.
I mean, it really did. Like, it's
Everything I wanted and more.
and more. Like, it gives you all the stuff that you want, but it also gives you all the stuff that you want to get there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
really good character shit and
Gives you stuff
interesting.
you didn't know you wanted.
Yeah. Like, really, really, I had no expectations for this show going in just because I didn't know anything about it.
Like, I did not know that I would enjoy a floating cartoon voiced by Tara Strong being a threatening jump scare character.
Man, that jump scare was so good.
I would not have asked for that, but they gave it to me and I liked it.
Or I mean, like just Owen Wilson in general.
Yeah, Owen Wilson. I was very impressed.
When you sit around and you think of what I want from a Marvel thing, in the Loki story, we're going to the King the Conqueror time travel. You don't
And,
think Owen
yeah.
Wilson? I want it.
And since we're getting more seasons, I'm okay with us not getting him on a jet ski because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
still on the table for the future.
Absolutely. We're not there yet.
Maybe it'll be even better the longer they build up to it.
Maybe it will be. Yeah. This show did a really good job.
I like it.
Highly impressed.
I like every part. They even made me like Hunter B-15 at the end.
That is a feat. They did that was well done.
That was very impressive. I was not a fan of that character in episode 1.
Yeah. She was a fucking, like I said, she was an annoying bitch. It's fine. That's why she was
a
good at her
bitch,
job.
yeah. She was.
But but here she is. Like, she's at the end of it, and she's kind of like one of the people on the main good guy team, sorta. But now we don't really know what team they're on or whose team they're on.
Well, certainly that is the question. Is the Mobius and B-15 from the end? Like, obviously, my assumption is that Loki just got sent to a different TVA, and there's now multiple TVAs, and he's got to get back to his TVA.
Right.
Some people would guess that
clearly
actually
they don't give a fuck about Loki in his timeline here. He's walking around and no one gives a shit.
Right, nobody really notices. Okay, see the backwards numbers. Why did they flip that footage on purpose, or? Oh, okay. So in the 3D shot, like the numbers facing the right.
You're right. I see that.
The number was facing the right way when he was looking at it from the. So it's just that they deliberately paint the numbers backwards on one side of the pillar and right ways on the other side of the pillar.
People, we're disoriented enough already. Show people, like, you don't have to.
Does he want us to just let
Okay, so that line there. Does he want us?
Yeah, see these versions of B-15 and Mobius talk as though they're unaware of the TVA being a ruse, and that they were like our Mobius and B-15 wanted Immortus, or whatever you want to call him, to be defeated. And for the TVA to be like disbanded and timelines no longer pruned. This B-15 still prunes timelines.
Does she?
And she said the question, does he want us to just let them branch, implies that usually they don't let them branch, and that she's taking orders from somebody else.
It does.
To stop pruning.
The question is, that scene that came right before this one, where they had to do the for all time always looking at the monitor with all the branches.
Yeah. That was our Mobius and B-15, and
this is. Was it though? That's the question.
I think it was.
It could have been. It's just it, but. It came after the other, some part after the other thing. So
it's also that Mobius and B-15 were also standing in a different room than these two. Like, they were in the room with all the monitors.
But dude, Loki was sitting there staring into the camera for a long time.
Well, so that's the question. Some people will probably follow my guess of Loki has been sent to a different TVA and there are now multiple TVAs.
Yes.
Other people are guessing that there's still only one TVA, but a Kang the Conqueror has taken it over and altered everybody's memories. So this is our Mobius in B-15, and Loki will have to figure out a way to get them to remember him.
I mean, those are the two options.
Yes, those. As far as we know,
As
those
far
are
as
the
we
two
know.
options. Those are the ones I can imagine.
We,
Obviously, like I said, I favor the first, but some people have posited the second. I think the first makes more sense, just
I think the
because.
first does make a little more sense, but like here, like they say, does he expect us? So they're following the orders of a dude now.
And we see the statue. The dude is Kang.
We do. It's actually the
Dude is Kang
Kang.
the Conqueror.
Well, I mean, it could be, or are they at the point in the timeline where they're working with someone else to try to bring it down, but it's a different scenario where they're trying to bring someone else down, and Loki's not
I
a part of the thing
I
necessarily.
suppose that's possible.
Like,
But just based on the setup of they answer to a he, and the Timekeeper statue has been replaced with a Kang statue, they want us to assume that this Mobius and B-15 work for Kang the Conqueror.
and she says, like, does he want us just to keep letting them branch, like stuff like it? This doesn't seem like a usual situation because look at B-15's face. This is not the face that these guys make because
Right?
they're
No,
always like they know what they're
surprised. They are surprised and confused by the idea of letting the multiverse just go and not pruning it.
doing. Something unusual is happening here. This is like an event for them too,
Yeah.
but we don't know exactly what the event is.
My guess is that we're going to see obviously, like what Immortus said, is if you kill me, there will be an infinite number of variants of me and they'll go to war with each other.
Yes.
So the situation where this TVA works for a Kang is probably not an unusual situation now that there are a whole bunch of Kangs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, maybe every Kang has their own TVA, and the TVA is going to spend season 2 at war with their own variants.
It could be, or whoever this is in this timeline that they're on, or something like that. Like their pet threat is no longer Loki; it's Kangs. It's the Kang variants. That could be another thing that they're doing.
Well, it's possible that this TVA has never been chasing Sylvie or other Lokis
Right.
because they don't recognize
Right? No, yeah, yeah.
this guy's
that's what
Loki.
I mean. That's what I mean. They're chasing Kang variants now because that's the biggest threat. The thing, even if it is Kang at the top calling the shots, he's telling them, no, these other
Right,
variants have to go.
Right. If they answer to Kang, their enemy is other Kangs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously that Loki's no longer, like I said, like their pet problem. Like whatever, Loki doesn't matter. The Kangs matter. They're the big thing now.
Indeed.
But who? But these, this is just speculation all day. Who knows?
It is. We will have to wait till season 2 to know what's really going on.
I'm glad there's a season 2. I'm glad that,
I
glad
wonder
that they put that in there at the end. Like, didn't save that shit.
I wonder if it'll be this time next year that we get season 2, because that is how shows usually work. They are 1 year apart every season,
and which means that we'll be through Multiverse of Madness by then.
Indeed.
Which
we'll be through Spider-Man No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, because they're both multiverse movies theoretically.
I don't know if Eternals is.
Eternals, I'm fairly certain, won't have anything to do with the time and multiverse stuff. It's
probably Shang-Chi as well.
The only reason I can imagine that movie is being made is to introduce something important to the space part of the Marvel Universe. To show more of the Celestials, what they're about. Maybe it'll tease the existence of other entities like Galactus. Maybe it'll establish that Earth is a place the Celestials have experimented on in order to set up the existence of the X gene, because that is the origin in the comics. That's why humans mutate into people with powers.
Yep.
Is because the Celestials done fucked with us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Eternals exists for, because I can't imagine any other reason to make that movie.
You know,
Because it's
it's
certain
hard.
nobody cares about the Eternals themselves,
Oh,
and I don't expect the film to change that.
yeah.
They're not exactly Jack Kirby's most successful fucking creation, all right?
Man. Yeah, it's a thing.
Uh,
You want to do some questions?
let's do some
Let's do some
questions.
questions. This was just to end the Loki, like this part of it though. Good
Oh,
job.
actually, before we do
Oh,
questions,
yeah.
before we do questions, we're gonna review Black Widow. Do you want to do this now?
Oh,
Since some
okay.
of the questions will be about Black Widow.
If we got if they're up now, then we can do that.
Yeah. Well, we
Okay,
have
we'll do our
a
review and then we
couple.
do that. Okay, we can do that.
We have a couple.
All right.
So, overall, I liked Black Widow. I didn't. It's not. I don't know. It's like a 7 out of 10 for me. And most MCU movies I would give 8, 9. A specific few I would give a full 10. My tens would be Iron Man 1, Winter Soldier, uh, Civil War, Infinity War, maybe Guardians 1.
Oh shit. Sorry. Go ahead.
And I give Ragnarok a 9. I'm not gonna go through all the MCU movies.
Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, you get the scale. I would give my lowest MCU movies would be like Iron Man 3, Dark World, and Captain Marvel.
I've got a fucking page over here with mine and my wife's ratings for all of them when we did this shit. What did it? Let me see what my lowest one was.
I just want to establish the far ends to say that Black Widow is above the bad ones. I would give Black Widow what I would give. I think Iron Man 2 is somewhere in the middle. Low middle, but more in the like there are a lot of people who are like, "Oh, Iron Man 2 has nothing good." I don't agree with that. I think Iron Man 2 was a perfectly serviceable average movie. That's what I would say Black Widow is as well.
Okay.
Now, Black Widow, the character and her backstory, I never found particularly interesting, and I think that premise was hurt even more by the fact that in the past 5 or so years, other studios have ripped Black Widow off multiple times. The Red Sparrow, Salt, Atomic Blonde. There's been a lot of like Russian spy chick movies lately. So I didn't think this was fucking necessary. But Black Widow, the movie we got, I think to its credit isn't about Natasha. It's about introducing Yelena.
Yeah, it's like you're talking like big picture, actually
Yeah,
affect Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the origin story for Black Widow's legacy character. Because obviously Nat died before this movie came out.
She did. Spoilers.
The film is a prequel set shortly after Civil War. Like immediately after Civil War.
It is.
Cap hasn't even freed Ant-Man and them from jail yet,
Yeah,
which he does in the last scene of that movie.
He hasn't lifted the raft out of the water somehow and gotten them all out of there. That was I don't know how he pulled Anyway. Yeah.
He's Captain America, don't worry
He's
about
Captain
it.
America, damn it. Fucking come on, America.
Maybe the Wakandans helped him. They have all the technology. Anyway, when I first got into comics, and I first heard about Yelena Belova, I think playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1. It was like the answer to one of those quiz questions that's in the game or something. And I was immediately fascinated by the idea that there's more than one Black Widow, and that, gee, I wonder what the second one is like, because she's not in this game, and I've never seen her before, and I've seen Nat in stuff. So, like, there's another one of her, and who is that? I would like to know more. And then I got into comics, And it turns out Yelena is like one of the least used characters ever. And I got in at a time of questionable quality for comic books. In the mid 2000s was the era of Brian Michael Bendis.
Mm-hmm.
And Bendis as an Avengers writer, not ideal. And he used Yelena, but in a single story where he turned her into a super adaptoid and blew her up at the end.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fucking stupid.
Wow. Okay.
So basically, I have just always wanted to see a decent Yelena Belova story. I've always had this weird curiosity, this weird fringe interest in that character that's never been satisfied by anything. So the fact that she's getting her due, she's finally in the story it feels like she was created for, actually being allowed to replace Nat as the main Black Widow in something. I was that's what I was in for. That's what I wanted. And I got that, so I'm satisfied.
And you get, they got it. Like they did a good job with the actor and her, all that shit. Like all that.
Oh yeah, she's a very charismatic actress
She
in this
is.
movie. Her character Yelena is kind of childish. Like I get, it fits for someone who sort of had their mind taken from them when they were young and has just like snapped out of it.
Yes.
And is like, so she's kind of a case of Arrested Development. She has the personality of a teenager. I like that. I think it makes her endearing.
It does.
I like her going on and on about how cool my vest is. I know you like it. You want one too.
Yeah, she has a lot of good shit like that. She's she's fun.
She's flying a helicopter and an avalanche starts, and she's like, "Ooh, this would be a cool way to die."
Yeah, she's fun to watch. She's charismatic. She's genuinely
fun.
funny.
She's fun.
She is funny.
Yeah. And also, like, another thing I was really looking forward to ever since the first trailer was David Harbour, who is easily my favorite actor on Stranger Things. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Stranger Things is about his character. He's the main character, not the kids. I don't really give a fuck about fucking Finn Wolfhard.
You don't like fucking 17? What's her name? I don't remember.
11.
Okay.
She's okay.
Whatever.
She's okay.
Fucking make her nose bleed. Here we go.
It's like watching a show about Jean Grey with no other X-Men in it.
It is, but she's but less charismatic, which is saying a lot because it's Jean. Anyway, David Harbour.
No, I love David Harbour, and I was super looking forward to seeing him as the Red Guardian, this washed-up old Russian Captain America.
And he didn't let us down.
No, he was great. He stole the show. Every scene he's in is like my favorite scene. I also
he was washed up Captain America as fuck. Like
he was the perfect amount of washed up. He was exactly what you expect from the phrase washed up.
He was like just all in on that character. Good job.
It was great. They nailed it. I've been a fan of Rachel Weisz since she was the love interest in Constantine.
Yes.
And
that was your first interaction with her?
I think so. I might have seen her in some other stuff, but the first time she stood out to me in a movie was Constantine.
Okay.
And I think she's, even at her age, or maybe even slightly because of her age, she was super hot as like the older generation of a Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
She looked great in the suit and everything. I thought her character was endearing too. I think that my favorite thing about the movie is like the Russian spy family dynamic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that interpreting Natasha as having had this staged childhood with this fake mom and dad and sister, and that she's still got a connection to them. That's not something that exists in the source material, but I think it's a huge improvement. I think it makes her character better, and I think it makes all of those characters interesting.
It does. It gave her a nice new wrinkle.
Yeah. my complaints about the movie. So obviously, the biggest complaint most people have about the film is that
Oh
Taskmaster
God.
is very much treated like
Yeah, he
the
is.
Mandarin in Iron Man 3 or the X-Men Origins Wolverine version of Deadpool.
Deadpool. That is
They
what.
just kind of
Boy.
they stripped the character of personality and just made them a mind-controlled goon. And also like the gender swap is whatever.
But the gender swap isn't the problem. Isn't like the main
No,
problem
no.
there. Like, boy. And yeah,
I
they gutted that shit.
So for me, I'm not a huge fan of Taskmaster. I think most of his popularity is based on memes. But I do kind of understand where they're coming from. One of the big complaints that Smokeman had about the movie is that it's all about the choreography and the fight scenes with Taskmaster didn't live up to the potential of that power set.
Okay.
I can kind of agree with that. I thought Taskmaster was used great in the action scenes until the third act. I thought it was really obnoxious the way they kept cutting away from Taskmaster's fight with Red Guardian.
Yeah.
I thought that fight deserved more screen time.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
And the thing they were cutting away too, which was the main villain Dreykov going on and on. I thought
Dreykov.
Dreykov was a really just boring, bland, underwhelming, just a guy in a suit
I
who's
mean,
only
he was like, and he's supposed to be like the
like he is
stereotypical Soviet Russia villain bad guy boss.
right,
Like,
right, but his motivation had really nothing to do with like Russia
uh,
versus the US or the Cold War or any of that stuff. His motivation is that he's vaguely sexist. Like the most cringe line in the movie is a bit where he tells Natasha that he's taking over the world using quote unquote the one resource it has too much of, girls. That is so fucking
come
forced.
on, man. It doesn't
If
even
you
make
take that
sense.
if you take that one line out of the movie, it
Uh,
goes from a 7 out of 10 to a 7.5
yeah,
at
yeah.
least.
Listen, like, you can express the exact same sentiment, but like,
Yeah, there are
do
there are
better.
ways to do that like naturally and not beat you over the head with clumsy fucking exposition that like it's just so unsubtle and transparent.
Yes, it is.
And I'm not
But even
I don't have
so, he's
I don't have a
uncompelling.
look, I don't have a fucking problem with women. All right? I don't have a
Oh
problem
shit.
with I don't need to be told what is and isn't sexist. And I'm not mad because the movie is telling me sexism is bad. I'm mad because it's fucking poorly written. Like you can have that message and do it like the way people would really talk.
I don't need you to tell me who I am. No, I know. Like he like no, like but even because of that stupid like even without that stupid contrived line, like he's just not compelling. He's not interesting. He's not a juicy
Yeah,
villain.
no.
He's not fun at all. Like
And
if he
and
was, there would be some like whatever. Like that was shitty, but he got to do other cool stuff. No.
by the way, sense of smell does not work like that.
Oh shit, does it not?
You can't just look if you've smelled pheromones and the pheromones give you like look, I'm okay with like the dumb super science of pheromones can control your mind.
Hmm.
Like you can't hit me because my smell is like programmed into your brain.
I thought that shit was whack.
I'm not okay with the idea that if you break your nose, it quote unquote severs a nerve, and that the moment you do it, it's like a light switch and the pheromones aren't affecting you anymore. Chemicals are not fast. It's the same logic though as like a person gets hit with a tranq dart and they immediately fall asleep. That's not
Yeah.
how that works in real life.
No.
It takes a little bit for the drug to get through your
To
fucking
spread through your
veins.
body? Yeah.
That's the problem I have. Well, several plot problems rolled into one with that whole broken nose plot point at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
fucking end.
yeah. That red fucking mist shit, like I get what they were doing. I thought it was whack. Reminded me of
I,
Spider-Man game.
I'm fine with the overarching plot of the mind control antidote.
Hmm.
I didn't really have a problem with that. One thing I liked about the movie, when they do a fight scene that has enough time to really like appreciate it. Like when Nat and Yelena fight in the apartment with each other, and then when Nat is fighting all of like the army of Black Widows in the office, the stunts look really like realistic and painful. Like
They
she
do.
gets tossed and lands awkwardly on corners of things.
Yes.
It's really brutal. I
She
really
hits
liked
things a
that.
lot in the air. It that feels like that was like a marching, like, this is what we're gonna do. This is the thing we're doing. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I liked that. I liked
That
that.
was good.
And I will say, like, in regards to the Taskmaster thing, I think it softens the blow for me that Taskmaster lived at the end and could theoretically become more like the
Yeah, that's
comics
true.
version.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
a lot of people are going to like stop at the point of, well, it's a girl though, and like a
Yeah,
girl can still be like a smart ass
yeah, yeah.
like a Taskmaster in the comics is a snarky asshole, and that's the
Yes.
main thing people like about him. I think you can do that with her. I mean, it's hard to imagine her getting there from the point we see her in this movie where
Ugh.
she's just waking up out of control and doesn't really have a personality yet.
Basically like a lobotomy type shit. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it was crazy.
It so here's the thing about it is like I compare it to Scarlet in Mortal Kombat. In MK9, Scarlet was introduced as a kind of a mindless golem
She
who
was.
didn't talk.
Mhm.
And I wanted to see character development for her, where she, once Shao Kahn is dead and she's free to choose her own destiny, she gradually develops a personality. And that's not what we got. The next time we see her, she's been retconned to be a whole different person. So I'm hoping that we get Taskmaster in the MCU where we actually do see what I wanted to see happen to Scarlet. Like
Um,
the more they show up, the more they develop into a three-dimensional person
yeah, and
instead
that's
of just suddenly acting different the next time we see them.
yeah, that would be fun. I mean, I said it before. Like of all the problems, like he's not that character. Taskmaster wasn't a problem because they gender swapped him. Like there was
There's
so much other shit that was packed in
yeah.
there that's it's important too, and they could get it there. They could get there.
There's also like a lot of people online are like, well, they didn't call her Taskmaster, they called her the Taskmaster
Oh
program,
god,
and maybe there's a real Taskmaster who this same program produced. You know, and I don't know that they'll do that. I don't think they'll
just go watch
introduce
fucking Scarlet Witch and
quote
WandaVision.
unquote Tony Masters. And by the way, that's one of the reasons I don't like comics Taskmaster,
Yes,
Tony Masters,
Tony Masters.
is because his origin story is one of the worst comics I've ever fucking read. And it's not a classic comic. He didn't have an origin until the 2010s. And it's like a shitty modern comic. You know, like fucking I complain all the time about how I have a hard time reading anything Marvel from like Fear itself or after because the quality dipped so hard across the board.
Mhm.
This is one of those examples. This book was fucking trash. So since this book is the place where he was given the name Tony Masters for the first time, it really bugs me when I see everybody on the internet calling him Tony Masters like it's important, like his name matters to his identity, and that's like what they want. I want Tony Masters. No, you don't. That book was trash. You want male Taskmaster. I get that, but stop calling him Tony. Stop calling him Tony Masters. It's a dumb name from a dumb book. He needs a different secret identity.
Do it, Kevin Feige. Well, I guess he did.
Oh, he did. He
He
did.
did. So
Just
okay.
he changed from Tony Masters to Antonia Dreykov.
Dreykov's daughter. That's fucking her name forever. So
that sums up my feelings. I thought it was a 7 out of 10.
you gave it
I
a
liked
7
it.
out of 10.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
My lowest one, we did a scale of 5, but it doesn't matter. Uh,
All right. Well, on a scale of 5, a 7 is what is that? 3.5.
maybe 3.5 ish.
I think a 7 is a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. Um, I'm not gonna give it that. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it a 3. What's a 2.5 that I have up
A
here?
2.5 out of 5 would be a 5 out of 10.
Okay, I've got the Incredible Hulk at 2.5.
I really like the Incredible
I
Hulk.
don't
I
know if
think
I
it's
agree with
underrated.
myself, but that's been a long time. This was years ago. I don't know if I
That's
agree
it.
with myself, but I like the Incredible Hulk more than I did the Black Widow movie. I really, really did like
No, I can agree with that. I think
Yelena.
I put Incredible Hulk very high on my list if I were to make a full list.
It's it's complicated. The movie is complicated, but it's got a lot of shit that was introduced that is actually very important and still important going on,
Yeah,
and
it's
more so all the time. They're going to probably be using more. There's a lot of super soldier shit, and like
well. The other thing is just that movie has like most of what I like about the Hulk in it. Like
can't have
I
sex.
don't I don't want to see the Hulk uh boning gladiator princesses in outer space.
No,
I want to see Bruce Banner on the run, fucking Bill Bixby style. That's the Hulk I'm into, and that's what Incredible Hulk
it
was.
was. Um,
I also don't want to see the Hulk fucking wrestling giant poodles and fighting an absorbing man you can't see because he turned into water in the water.
yeah, yeah.
God, look, I don't want to get into Ang Lee Hulk because we'll be here all night.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's get out of there.
I'm not gonna do it.
Abort. I really liked Elena. They won me with her. She's good, and I'm very all for her going into the future stuff as she will because we saw Valentina.
Yes. The post credit scene for Black Widow teases that Yelena is working for Elaine from Seinfeld,
Mm-hmm.
and she will be in the Hawkeye show.
Um,
Because
this was going to be her first, her actual introduction, right?
yes,
Valentina?
this was Black Widow was supposed to come out last year. Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been the first one instead of Fucky.
I will say, like, if this had been our introduction to Elaine, I don't think it would have been as good because we'd be like, "Who the fuck is this chick?"
Yeah, I
She
think it was
doesn't
a better
say who she
introduction.
is in the post credit scene.
Yeah,
We don't find out who she is and what she does until Falcon and Bucky.
yeah. I mean, we got just like a better taste of her vibe and personality and shit there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I did a good job there. But yeah, I like Elena a lot. She was really good, and I'm fine with her moving forward. Um, and yeah, Red Guardian was sick.
Another thing I will point out is that Rachel Weisz and David Harbour signed multi-picture deals.
Yes, they did not die at the end of this movie.
Right. So Older Widow and Red Guardian will be in other stuff. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I was really happy about that. I was a little worried that he was going to die at the end.
Yeah, a lot of people were. I was also pleased to see that he will continue on. I wonder.
Really
So there's one of the most interesting scenes in the movie to me is there's a moment where he asks Nat, "Does Captain America ever talk about me?"
yeah,
Like he wasn't making up stories, like he's actually met him for real, which is impossible because Steve was in the ice until the late 2000s.
it's well, okay, that was after he got out of prison, right? Or was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
after they broke out when they're walking to Rachel Weisz's pig farm.
Maybe he's just fucking drunk, his brain gone in Siberia for like all those fucking.
I think they're hinting that America had like a secret 80s cap separate from Steve.
Oh.
And I want to see that. I want to see like the 60s to 80s team that has younger Hank Pym, fake Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Howard Stark's in there somehow.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I want to see that.
I want to see it. I mean, but like anything also that gets us a little more Red Guardian, I'm type. That suit was sick. He was sick.
Yeah.
Good job. I'm gonna give that movie. Uh, God damn it, I don't know. I'm gonna give it 2.5. I'll just leave it there. No
Two,
3.
two
No.
point,
Damn it, I don't know. 2.5.
2.5 or 3-ish out of 5.
Yeah.
That's 5.5 or 6 out of 10.
It is what it is, man.
Right. It's you know what? We should rate things using the facial expressions from like EGM or GamePro, whichever did that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they had a rating system that it was technically out of 5,
I don't.
but it was just how excited does the face look?
I don't remember those. That does sound funny though. I haven't seen those from forever. Man, that was a magazine, right?
Yes,
Or was it?
it was a
Okay.
video game. Well, EGM and GamePro both were video game review
were.
magazines from the 90s.
Yeah, these periodicals that
Yes,
you could
they,
bring to
you
your
used
home.
to. We used to publish things on paper
Mhm.
in American society, believe it or not.
It was a strange, strange time, and you know what? We made it work.
Yeah.
um, yeah, 2.0. That's all I got. Like the movie wasn't bad, but I'm not itching to go like, oh man, let's watch that shit again right now. Like, you know what? Mm. I would much rather watch Loki again.
Yeah, I mean Loki was obviously a lot better than Black Widow. But I just like Black Widow, I liked it better than Iron Man 3 or Dark World or Captain Marvel. That's it is fourth from the bottom.
I like it more than Captain
most of
Marvel.
the Here's the thing is most of the MCU is so good
It is true.
that fourth from the bottom is still a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people no longer see it that way because they're either Gen Z and this is all they know, and they think like average movies are bad movies because they haven't seen how bad movies can really be in their life.
I mean, I don't know.
Or you know, a lot of comic book fans are just our age, but they're spoiled because we've had good comic book movies for so long that people don't remember when it was like Reb Brown Captain America.
That's like I don't know how that can work. How you can be our age and be a comic book fan, but forget about that shit. Like I'm still like fucking what is his name? Frank Castle got fucking mental storming. My brain is still trapped in that time of like everything is shitty superhero wise. So when you get something that's
Yeah,
tight, like it's like, oh, sick. But
I mean, I experienced Shaq as Steel.
Yeah,
I can't
man.
I can't unlive those memories.
Yeah, I'm still in there somewhere. I'm still like, man,
it's
look at fucking
important.
X-Men 1. Look at everybody
It's
in these costumes.
important. It's important to know what a real bad movie looks like, so you stop calling average movies bad.
Yeah, do that. And you know what? Maybe ease up on the hyperbole.
You know what a real bad movie looks like?
Catwoman with Halle Berry.
We just had a Mortal Kombat one that I would say is Halle Berry Catwoman tier. I thought that movie was rancid trash, and it really bothers me that we've got comments on our latest Nethercast defending that piece of shit.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was funnier than Catwoman.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
I think it was fun. Dude, I think with the fucking sweep, it was enough. The sweep makes it funnier than Catwoman.
I thought most of the Kano shit, like some of it was just casual dialogue that was natural, that was funny. I thought a lot of the stuff, like the fucking the multiple sweeps gag was fucking forced. I
mean, yeah, I feel it's forced whenever it's happening to me, but it keeps happening to me.
It's not the 90s anymore. The MK games don't even play like that.
Like, for real. That is Mortal Kombat, though. That's the trouble.
The 95 movie took itself seriously enough to not have a joke about just doing high punch over and over again. Come on.
Man, they should have. That would have been funny. But you know, whatever. But yeah. Yes.
I don't know. I really thought that thing was like Jennifer Garner Electra tier.
Let's not talk about Electra.
It was painful.
Dude, I hate Electra so much.
The
Don't talk
the
about that.
script and the dialogue are so amateur.
Dude,
It would if you posted the script to MK2021 on fanfiction.net, it would blend right in and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
I mean, dude, look, this is the episode for Loki.
All right, I
Talk
had to
about
get that
like
off my
there's some
chest.
good shit going on here,
I
man.
had to get that off my
Okay,
chest. I'm sorry. I'm
release.
sorry. Let's do the questions now. Let's do the actual
Let's
ask
go.
questions.
Loki was good. It was really good. Okay, I'm going to scroll over here.
Okay, so
It's Great Kung La. Okay. Oh yeah, I ate that gator, the glorious purpose. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I've had gator before though. The gator I've had before was a little bit better, but gator's still good. Anyway,
they don't
where does this start? Have
they
you had
don't
gator?
serve alligator up here. I'm north of the Mason Dixon. I can't eat alligator.
Oh man,
Nowhere serves it.
it's good. It's good. I mean, to me, it's always tasted like it's a lot like chicken, consistency,
Uh,
taste, and whatnot. But it's
well, here's the
saltier.
thing.
It's more
It's
flavorful
be
than chicken.
it's because it's fried. Everything fried. That's why everything tastes like chicken. Is because you're
Yeah,
frying it.
I've had it unfried though. I've had it very, very unfried. I've had it like
Because I've had
shish kebab style, like skewered and shit, and it's not fried. Like it's still the same kind
yeah.
of situation. It's good.
Like I live out in the country, so when I was a kid I had friends who would hunt and fish and stuff. So I've had like rabbit.
Sure.
Rabbit tasted like chicken. Guess what? It was fried.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, that's definitely a thing. If you're gonna get fried shit, then you're gonna be tasting a lot of it's the batter. You're gonna be tasting that. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's what you're doing. You're probably dipping it in something.
All right. So for people who don't understand what we're talking about, that was in our question section on the Discord wasn't so much a question as it was you just posting a picture of you had fried gator and you said I found gator Loki's glorious purpose.
Yeah. And it was good. GG's.
So actual question.
Actual questions. Did we get any for Black Widow actually? Oh, okay, yeah, we did.
We got a couple at the very bottom.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
so Suze asks, what do you think was in the file that Miss Minutes gave Ravana, and where do you think she went on her journey to find free will?
This is a good one.
I think He Who Remains. I'm going to call him Immortus because he was dressed like Immortus.
Okay, I mean, yeah, Kang. It's all the same person.
Yeah, yeah. I think Immortus gave her the files on the Kang who will grow up to be himself. Find this version of me and put him on my throne if they kill me, because they ended up killing him. He had to have a backup plan for that.
Yeah.
I think that's where I think Immortus sent her to find the Kang who will become Immortus.
I think that's a good call. I think that's probably what it is. Wait.
500 asks,
Yes,
since
okay.
there are said to be so many variants of Kang / Immortus, do you think that they will be a recurring villain and we'll see them in things like the Fantastic Four? So Marvel's kind of already answered this question for us in so much as Kang, before we knew he was going to be in this show, which we didn't until this episode, they managed to keep that secret.
GG's Marvel.
He was announced playing Kang in Ant-Man 3, which comes out, I believe, next year or late this year.
It cannot be this year. You can't fit it.
I think Quantumania is 2022.
I think it's next year. Yeah.
So yes, we will see him in other things, but more specifically, I think we will definitely see the proverbial Kang bang in season 2 of Loki. I think we'll get multiple Kangs actively at war with each other in the show.
I think that's a safe assumption. I think that's that's gonna be a thing. I don't even know. Like, there's not even a date for Fantastic Four, is there? Like,
no, there's not yet.
Yeah, it's just fucking.
All we know is that it's like the last movie of Phase 4. And they announced Blade already, but they were like, this one we just signed the contract with Mahershala Ali. Blade is going to be Phase 5.
Yeah. Vampires.
Yes. So, another question from Suze. How do you think that Marvel will handle the movies and fill in the gaps for those who don't watch the Disney Plus shows?
It's a good question.
Uh, so I think Okay, so I think in the case of WandaVision, there'll probably be some like very quick summary because the events of the show aren't super complicated. You could probably explain, oh, Wanda has learned to do magic because she had a weird accident, and then she
Weird accident.
created some kids out of magic, and Mephisto has her kids or whatever.
Oops. Yeah.
Whatever it is. I think you can do like that in a couple of sentences. Just skim over it. For the purposes of like naturalistic dialogue that Doctor Strange has to get through. He understands magic and weirdness.
He does. I
uh
think the thing is that like you would understand assumptions going in, and like that these shows that we're having on Disney Plus, they might be like side shit or extras that maybe they wouldn't be as important as they've turned out to be. They've been very actually important
yeah,
to
yeah.
what's going on.
So I don't think Captain America 4 is really going to tell you what happened in Falcon and Buck. I think you'll be expected to know,
Well,
to have seen the
but that
show,
is
because it's
crazy though, because
yeah, that
you're
one
gonna hit the ground
you
running, and he's
actually
Cap.
yeah, he's capped this. Like, here's the other thing though. Like, you don't actually have to have seen Falcon and Bucky to understand that Falcon is Cap now, because we saw Steve give him the
You're right.
shield.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you could skip the show and just assume, okay, Steve gave him the show, he immediately became Cap. I get it. What the only other thing worth knowing about that happened in that show in terms of understanding future stuff is that now there's a guy called US Agent. And you can explain, like, oh, here's a guy who took the serum and he works for the government.
Yeah,
Done.
that's the thing.
That's really all you need to know, because Bucky's life didn't change.
No,
The show was just about getting Sam into the suit.
it was.
Uh, Loki and all this multiverse stuff. I think, Ant-Man 3 doesn't need to explain Kang so much as like it will introduce a Kang, and people who have seen Loki will understand what a Kang is, and people who have not seen Loki will just be like, okay, I'm meeting this variant of Kang for the first time.
Yeah. Because in the movies, they've always talked about there being a multiverse and all this shit like that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
and that's gonna, and like they don't have to explain that now because they've always talked like it's been there.
And obviously, like, the reason Kang fits an Ant-Man movie is because the quantum realm
Yeah.
is the means the Avengers use to time travel.
Right. I don't remember where I was going with that. Yes,
Right.
that is what happens. So, but yeah, since in the movies, there's always been talk of like, okay, there is a multiverse. We don't need to explain how the timeline was one,
Right.
and then Loki did some shit, and then it popped open, and then that popping open, the timeline and branching is now how we all of a sudden have all these Kangs, and here's where he comes from, and all this shit. Like,
Yeah,
here's what I'm talking about.
all you will really need to know for Ant-Man 3's purposes is Ant-Man has time travel technology. He has a technology that he uses to shrink that can also be used to time travel, and the universe he passes through when he shrinks too much is also used by this guy named Kang to time travel, perhaps. And so they come into conflict because they bump into each other in the fucking quantum realm or whatever. Maybe this Kang rules a city inside the quantum realm or some shit like that. You know, we'll see. It'll make sense. I don't think that for the purposes of most movies, they really need to know much about what happens in the shows. The shows are about their own character. It's like saying you don't need to have seen all the Iron Man films to understand the Thor films, you know?
Yeah.
Characters have their own stuff, and that's it.
Agreed.
Yeah. I
Mm,
I do wonder because obviously most of the Disney Plus shows are gradually introducing young Avengers characters. So will they do Young Avengers as a movie or as a show? That'll be curious to me. And also, Ms. Marvel will be introduced in Ms. Marvel, and then she will go on to be in The Marvels, which is Captain Marvel 2.
the Marvels.
I think you might need to see the show to understand that one.
Yeah, probably, maybe. Yeah. Mm, man.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Uh, question from Great Kung Lao.
Oh boy,
Uh,
I
he
know this
asks,
one.
how do you imagine your variants would have been? A Django that's a fan of the Snyderverse? A Razor that's a fan of Tekken? How do you imagine the entire Nethercast? What would our variants be? Obviously, that's a. I mean, in an infinite multiverse, there would be infinite different versions of us who are different from each other in
Theoretically,
infinite
yes.
ways. That's literally what am I to limit it to? What would my favorite variant of me be? What
Sure,
pick
yes.
three variants of
I
me
don't.
to just
Yeah, you're right. It's a thing. Um, I don't think there would be a Django variant that's a fan of the Snyderverse, though.
I think if I were not me, the most likely variants that are closest to me, like what would I be if I wasn't like Mortal Kombat guy on this fucking podcast? What are my other favorite things? I could see myself having a Ghostbusters podcast because I mean those the first two movies, the real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghost, the original stuff,
Yeah.
the Vinkman verse,
Um,
whatever you want to call
that'd be
it.
time. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That's been a humongous part of my life. Um, I had a conversation on the Discord like just yesterday about how like if I had been born taller and more athletically inclined, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler. Like that is like my dream job. I just don't have the physique to ever do it. That's why I never pursued it.
Yeah. You need
Um,
one of those.
so certainly I could see a world where if I wasn't like tall me who got into fucking fake sports, uh, I could be a guy who has a podcast about fake sports.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I could be a wrestling podcaster
Yeah.
or something.
I mean, like we've. I've done a bunch of my shit already. Like I did a. There's a universe where I have a variant where I'm fucking still a Castlevania streamer. And that's it. Or another one where I'm just music all the time and I don't do anything else. I don't know, stuff like that. But
we are multifaceted people
we
is
are.
the message here. And I will say before we get a bunch of comments in future videos asking me wrestling questions that
Mm,
I don't watch the modern stuff because it's all
no
garbage.
one does, do they?
I am retired from wrestling fandom the way CM Punk is retired from wrestling.
Yeah, that's the correct move, I think. I was a big fan whenever it was sick
I
too,
was
but
yeah,
then it
like obviously
stopped.
everybody loved it in the 90s. I was always an ECW guy. That was my particular
So
window
edgy.
into yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I was the fucking the grunge and industrial metal guy in the late 90s. I was the black
damn,
trench coat. I didn't literally own a black trench coat. If I'd had money, I would have.
sick.
I was a poor kid in school. I couldn't buy what I wanted to wear.
And because of that, you had a chip on your shoulder and such edge. I see. It all makes sense now.
Well, look, man, they come out to real music. Like Tommy
Real
Dreamer's
music.
entrance theme is Alice in Chains. It's not some made up fucking elevator music.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a thing.
There's a guy who spends 3.5 minutes just walking through the crowd to enter Sandman, and that's more important to his fandom than his matches are.
Damn, you're right. So that's a variant.
Yeah, they're definitely wrestling me is one of the main me's.
But listen, As I always say, you change your nature, but not your nurture. I'm not a fan of Snyderverse ever. It's not how that works.
I don't. I suppose it would require me to understand why people like that before I could say whether or not it's possible for me to like that.
That's a good question. And man, I don't know. Because you're just saying that, like the best argument you have is like there's a variant of me that likes bad things.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure that's possible, but I don't understand
yeah, like
why.
I don't. Okay, that's weird.
I couldn't tell you what that me is thinking.
Just because, yeah, that's a weird rabbit hole. Like that's harder for me to imagine than actual multiverse bullshit and like the time travel shit in
Yeah.
this show. Like,
If it was if if the podcasting technology we have now was there 15 years ago, I would maybe have had a Green Lantern podcast
oh.
because the Jeff Johns run, the stuff where he invented all of the like the Sinestro Corps and all the different colored rings, I still think is one of the greatest superhero comic periods for any character of all time.
Not to overstate things.
Not to overstate that. It's meant a lot to me, was very defining for me when I started collecting comics like devotedly, where I was like reading everything from Marvel and DC both every week. That period of my life was the mid 2000s, and that's what was big at DC at the time. And it had an impact. And Green Lantern, Hal Jordan is still to this day my favorite comic book character.
I knew
That's my
that.
favorite superhero.
I knew that.
And obviously, like, this shouldn't surprise people because my fucking avatar is a Red Lantern logo.
It is. It's not subtle. It's not like your avatar is
Oh,
hard to
gee, I wonder if
decipher.
he likes Jeff Johns' Green Lantern book.
It's not like your avatar looks like my avatar.
You don't have an avatar.
See? I know, it doesn't fucking mean anything.
You used to just use a reddish pink circle, and now it's a gray circle. What?
I know,
Get
yeah.
personality.
It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. And someday the red will come back.
I'm sure it will.
It will. Yeah.
I actually, Dap asked me yesterday, why do you change your avatar so often? Why don't you get a brand?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I do have a brand.
Is constantly changing your brand? Is that
Constantly change. I don't think I constantly change. I've had two.
It's not that often, but
I've had two.
I
Red
mean,
dot or gray
like
thing.
a week ago you were back to spelling Django with a D on
I
the front.
was. I just wanted to see what it looked like. It looked weird. It did look weird. Everything's normal now. It's okay.
Yeah. We
I,
fixed it.
I guess we answered that question.
That variant was pruned.
That was. Yeah, that was gone. He's out of here.
Yeah, your variants are the Django who spells it with a D.
He is. Oh, I know he is. And I ran into that bitch the other night when I was playing Mortal Kombat 11 online. He kicked my ass.
Does he also play Fujin?
No, he didn't. He had bad taste and played Scorpion in that
Ooh.
game. He was a shitty fucker, man. He probably did like fucking Zack Snyder.
Well, let me ask you this: Did he have the rope dart moves equipped where he spins it? What was his Scorpion variation?
What did he have? I think that he was. I'm pretty sure that he had the teleport cancel.
It's
Just to
boring.
be an asshole.
Django with a D is boring. I don't like that
Django,
variant.
Well, he's gone. He's got flushed and banned.
But no, other fighting games. I am almost as big a fan of Soul Calibur as I am Mortal Kombat.
Stage of history.
I think that game has a spectacular character creator. I think the way they handled their reboot was a million times better than most franchises, including MK, handle reboots. I think the game is held back by the fact that Namco won't give them the budget to do cutscenes. Like, you play their story modes and it's still images and text, and sometimes the text is voiced, but it's like playing a PS2 game.
It is. You're right.
I think that's the one downside to Soul Calibur.
That's the thing. That's true of
But
most fighting games, though, like budget problems.
yeah.
Like, don't think about Mortal Kombat as being like the rule. They're the exception. So
Yeah, but I just feel like
everyone else is broke.
ever since MK9 did it, like a lot of companies have tried to copy that success, and I wish that I guess Namco just doesn't have Warner Brothers money is the end of the
Well, no, that's
problem.
yeah, that's
Well,
the
no,
thing.
they tried to have cutscenes in Tekken 7 and they were just super fucking boring. But that's Tekken. I severely I've always hated the quote unquote story in Tekken. I think that it doesn't have a story. That Tekken is a game about slapstick and comedy relief that sometimes chooses to take Heihachi and Kazuya and only them seriously. And I think that's a fucking mess. I don't think you can have something that works that way and expect it to work. It's too inconsistent.
I agree.
And also, like, the Tekken 7 story mode was about this really bland reporter guy with
Oh, the
like
journalist we know.
the
Yeah.
the most asleep at the wheel voice actor I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Ooh, it was a thing that immediately became a meme. I don't think anybody liked
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
That was rough. But yeah, that's those are my variants.
Those are my variants, and all of mine have been proven.
He also asked us, do you think the TVA can be turned into something good, like Justice Incarnate in the DC universe? That's their multiverse team that has the Superman based on President Obama and Captain Carrot and a bunch of characters from the multiverse who form a team to do superhero shit across the 52 worlds. um,
I mean, good is it's relative ish,
yeah.
especially with the TVA. It's hard.
So my position would be that I don't think multiverses need policing so much as like they should be left alone. You should apply like Star Trek's Prime Directive, the position of non-interference. Let them develop naturally on their own and don't get involved with them. The only time when you'd really need to like deal with a multiverse problem is when a villain from one Earth wants to invade another Earth, which is what the Kangs will do.
It be.
I believe the TVA will become an agency devoted to stopping the Kang Bang.
Yeah, I think that's a good assumption. That's a good way for them to go. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, yeah, like, turn into something good. They're not inherently evil the way they are, but they are. I don't know. It's however you want to think about it. Like, ultimately, at the end, it was like a lesser of two evils type logic.
I would
according to Kang, but
I think like obviously the TVA will continue to exist for a while, but I would kind of like to see like the series finale be like, okay, we don't need this anymore. All the variants can go back to like Earths that resemble their home Earths,
Yeah.
and try to live normal lives. And like the last shot of the show can be like Loki is standing on a beach smiling as he watches Mobius ride a jet ski into the sunset.
that sounds. I want to see
I
it
think
now.
that's how I want the show to end.
Yeah, that's a good ending. I approve. Did we answer that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Suze has another question. What Marvel show or movie are you most looking forward to next?
Shang-Chi, I guess.
Yeah, like Shang-Chi is definitely very appealing to me.
I mean, the one that I want to see most, I know that I want to see most, that I know about is Thor 4 or whatever. Yeah, that.
Yeah, I'm definitely tentatively excited for Thor 4. On one hand, I am wary of because they're adapting the Jane arc, which I don't like. But I think the MCU is different enough that it kind of forces them to change some of the key elements that made it bad. And also, like, I do have faith in Taika Waititi just because I love Ragnarok so much.
Yeah.
I think they'll figure out a way to make that one good. I think the one that I am most excited to see at this point in time is No Way Home because we're getting potentially Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina and Michael Keaton, all of like the best Spider-Man villains.
I know that Michael Keaton
played
was coming
by.
back.
I think the Vulture's going to be in it.
Oh, that's tight.
I think they're aiming to like create a multiverse Sinister Six for him to fight. I think that's the point of the movie. I don't know for sure, but I think Keaton's going to be in it.
That'd be cool.
I'm just the best Spider-Man villains played by the best actors who ever played them.
Yeah.
In some cases, the only actors who've ever played them. But
Yeah.
just like, you're never gonna find a better Norman Osborn than Willem.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
I agree.
The man's own face in real life looks like the Green Goblin mask.
I mean, like, yeah, I agree. Like, who doesn't agree though? Like, who's gonna be like, know what? Willem Dafoe can't be fucking Osborn. That sucked. Like, no, come on.
So like, it could be the worst movie they make, and if Willem Dafoe's in it and puts on a Green Goblin suit, I will still love the movie. Spider-Man 1 is one of my favorite, not just superhero films, but films of all time, specifically for Willem Dafoe as Norman. Like, I don't give a fuck about Toby as Peter. I'm not... The movie, if you just rate the scenes Green Goblin's not in, meh. 7 out of 10. Green Goblin, 11 out of 10.
I wholly agree.
I've always said that's why I like Spider-Man 1 better than Spider-Man 2. You can't top Willem.
Yeah.
2 is good. 2 is good, but you're not beating the Green fucking Goblin, man.
And Tobey Maguire, I'm not a fan of. Ever have been. It's a weird.
Yeah, I don't like
I don't know.
Tom Holland. Like, I have problems with the supporting cast and like the world building, but Tom Holland is easily my favorite actor to play Spider-Man.
Yeah, I would agree. Not perfect, and there's other problems going on, like you said, definitely. But like, man, fuck off, Toby. I just
With his weird, melty, playing 16 at 35 face.
it's so weird. His voice gets on my nerves. It's a weird ass voice.
Yeah.
It's weird. Okay. Wait, did we answer that one?
I think
Is there
so.
more to it? What Marvel? Oh, are you
Well,
most looking
well,
forward
yeah.
to?
What movie or show are you most looking forward to? I
Okay.
said Far From Home.
You said Far From Home. Mine's probably Thor 4. But
Okay.
like, I've been sniffing for this magneto-shaped door. It has, but it's not out there yet.
Certainly. We're both definitely going to be like, yo, what are they doing with the X-Men?
Dude,
When are they going to announce the X-Men?
I mean, I've been very upfront about it. X-Men beats everything for me. Like, I'm just like the biggest diehard X-Men fan ever, and that's like all my bullshit.
Like, X-Men is not my favorite Marvel franchise, but
Yeah.
it's definitely in like the top 5. And like, my favorite female character in all of Marvel is Rogue.
Was Rogue? I didn't know that she was your
Yeah.
favorite overall.
Yeah, no. She is my I might have said this before.
I mean, I'm old. Come on.
I don't know if I have or not. I don't remember, but Rogue is my favorite female character in Marvel.
I mean, she's
Period.
good. She's really good.
And certainly, I would want them to introduce her as a Captain Marvel villain first, so that she can
absolutely. Yeah.
put Carol in the hospital and learn to fly.
No, yeah. You gotta. That's the only way. Like, that's the way to do that stuff right now. The X-Men in general, mutants in general. Introduce them like that. See them in like places in the world they already like naturally fit in and come from, not together.
Right.
Yeah. Rogue's great. One of my favorites. Maybe my favorite. I'm not sure. I have to think about this for a while, but definitely up there is Storm. I love Storm. Storm's sick.
Storm is good. Storm is good.
But yeah, Thor 4. My answer for that question is Thor 4.
All right.
Blade is gonna be sick too.
Blade is going to be cool. I'm curious to see how they do Blade because
Totally fine.
a lot of the things that made Blade so good were like because it was the late '90s and it was the style at the time, and I'm curious to see how they will adapt that to the 2020s.
It's fun though. You go back and look at it now, and it's like, oh, they're just doing like the shit where they put everybody in black and like the trench coat. So it's like X-Men
Here's,
and it's Matrix, but
here's
it's
the,
like no, it works.
as
It's fine.
as we just established, I am super into people wearing black trench coats in like alleys at night or
Yeah, yeah,
like
and it's fine. Like, but for Blade,
I
it's fine. Like
I have never grown out of thinking the late '90s was cool.
you like no, yeah, it's cool. It works. It works really well there. It doesn't work that well on like Cyclops.
No, not so much on Cyclops.
You don't have to put everybody in black. It doesn't work so well in the X-Men,
But
but
like, yeah, like if you're fighting vampires,
yeah. No, it works. It's all good.
look, make that shit as fucking goth as possible.
Yeah, it's totally fine. I'm looking forward to Blade. It's gonna be tight.
I'm curious to see what they'll do with the villain. Like, will it be actual Dracula?
I mean, as soon as I heard that idea, I'm like, why the fuck not? Like, this is just do it. Just do it. Like that's tight.
Yeah, we've seen the approach where it's fucking Deacon Frost as the main guy, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, let's make him this fucking Kiefer Sutherland Christian Slater cliche kind of character.
I
I've
mean,
seen that.
yeah,
I've been there.
I don't want to fucking.
I'm ready for Vlad.
Yeah. I don't want to fucking like immediately out of the door with the Blade. Give me like a daddy issues movie. Like,
Yeah, get
stop.
I'm ready for Moon Knight to ask Count Dracula where his money is.
I'm- we listen. Yeah.
Where's my $50, you fucking nerd?
Yeah. Man, Moon Knight's tight too. I forgot about Moon Knight.
Moon Knight's coming.
It is coming with Apocalypse.
It's technically true.
I know it's technically
I don't-
true.
I don't think he wishes to be remembered that way.
No, who would? Jesus Christ. That's like
If I was Oscar Isaac, that certainly wouldn't be like my favorite role.
no. Well, I mean, I hope not. Let's not talk about that. Ugh.
If I was Oscar Isaac, I don't think my favorite role has happened to me yet.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. Otherwise, it's just depressing. I don't know.
Hopefully, it's Moon Knight.
Hopefully, it is Moon Knight. I hope Moon Knight is fucking sick. Moon Knight's great. We did that one.
Yeah, we did that one. 500. Well, wait. Do you want your question, which is why are people still confused by how timelines?
Yes,
work?
Razor, answer this question for me.
Okay, they're still confused to how timeline shit works because literally every movie, TV show, and video game about time travel in the world does it differently from each other. The Terminator movies do it differently from other Terminator movies.
They do, yeah.
That's why people are confused because time travel is dumb.
It's
If you can't handle it, you shouldn't be writing it. And I know most people can't handle it. But this show did it okay.
I think the way the MCU has handled it so far is pretty solid.
No, so far I can't really. There are no holes I can poke in Marvel time travel. There are holes people have tried to poke, but that's usually because they don't fucking understand the ending of like what happened when Steve went back to Peggy. That was an alternate universe. That was not the main MCU's past.
Yeah, it's a thing. And on top of that, like we've talked about it, but like the fucking TVA not fucking around with him and stopping him or whatever, like that's moot for several different reasons.
Right. There's many explanations why they would not stop that.
It's fine.
One possible explanation is that it happened after this show.
Exactly. Which I mean, like linear time. Well, no, linear time does not exist. So don't think about it. Linear time. I'm gonna stop.
I'm just saying. Like Loki takes place.
Yeah.
The first episode starts in the middle of Endgame, and Steve went back to Peggy at the end of Endgame after Tony's funeral. So how many days after Tony died do you think they held the funeral, and how many days do you think passed during Loki?
It doesn't even matter though.
I don't think a full day does pass during Loki.
It may
I think the
not.
whole show is in less than a day.
But that last episode finally like showed us like definitively like, okay, look, it doesn't matter how long it's been. You change the shit and you fuck with the TVA, everything's always been different.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, like
that's how it
the
works.
moment Immortus dies, there are so many branches. One of those
All throughout history in the past too.
could be the one that fucking Steve came back with the shield to give to Sam
Exactly.
from.
That's the whole thing. And I think like for me in my own headcanon or whatever, like that's why you had the ancient one who was like illustrating multiverse shit with her cool magic to banner, and she did it well, and she like shows off what's going on. Like this is how the multiverse works. I don't think that she would have done that had there only been one timeline or and whatnot. Like I don't think that she would be quite as explaining it the same way or even be as knowledgeable about it as she was. So because the TVA collapsed and there were branching timelines, that's why she's showing you how it works.
Yeah, like
now.
if you take away the thing outside time that's been pruning all the branches, then it creates a scenario where it seems like the branches have always been there because you're not operating on linear time.
Right. And I mean, like, and I'm glad they did that on the last episode here, that they illustrated you with that.
Yeah.
Great example. Boom. Statue changed and people's like, who are you?
One of the reasons time travel confuses people so much is because they can't think outside of like linear time. Like it's just difficult to, as Doc Brown would put it, think fourth dimensionally. It's sort of like in Bill and Ted when they plan to put the keys under the bush. And then they go and the keys are already under the bush. And they're like, wow, we have to remember to do this later or they won't have been here.
Yeah.
That's a comedy approach to it, but it's totally valid.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a thing. Like, yeah, listen, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, everyone. It actually makes sense. Even if it's not making sense to you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
we did a good job answering my question. Good job.
Yes. You're welcome. 500 asks, is it safe to say that Immortus created the TVA to cover his own mistakes? I would say if you consider fighting a war with all of your multiversal selves a mistake, then absolutely, yeah.
Is that the mistake that he's talking about?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think that Immortus, I think he demonstrated some regret, some wistfulness about the war that he fought. And like he says to Loki and Sylvie, we're all villains here. We've all done bad things. Let's not pretend otherwise. So I think
he's upfront about it.
He says it with a kind of like he's not proud of it, but it's too late. It happened. It had it from a certain point of view. It had to happen. He felt like he had no choice. I mean, what's he going to do? Let another Kang kill him?
And like, I mean, he said it like, you know, the thing that he's afraid of is just himself.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the only thing that he's afraid of is that shit, and it's genuine.
And
that's what he was preventing.
He's been down that road, and he'll be down it again. Mm-hmm. Reincarnation, baby.
That's how it works. Time is a circle.
Time is a flat circle.
It is. It's on some TV shows. Okay, we answered that one. Tamashi.
So, why is Black Widow?
Well, Yelena.
Yeah, Black Widow. The why is because they wanted to introduce Yelena. Yep. There's also an element of it of like people have been complaining for years. Why doesn't Nat get her own movie? She should have had a movie in Phase 1 or 2. Yeah. I don't agree with that, but so many people made so much noise about it that Marvel was like, fine, fuck it, we'll do it.
And I mean, as like we both said, we liked it more than Captain Marvel.
Certainly.
But there's other characters that are more fitting for that type of position, that type of vehicle, if you will.
The problem Marvel has always had in finding a quote unquote their own Wonder Woman a solo heroine to push as like this is our big female character, is that all of their best female characters don't run solo. They're all on teams.
They are.
Sue Storm and all of the women in the X-Men are their best female characters. They've like Carol's never been popular. Nat's never been that big a deal
Yeah, yeah.
until the movies, anyway.
Um,
So taking characters whose like these stories were published decades ago and people were meh on them now, meh on them then, they're going to be meh on them again because what people like hasn't changed that much. So you want to find a story that's hugely popular that stars a female character, then you want to adapt an X-Men arc.
yeah, it's a thing. I mean, and Wanda's a good example. Like, I think
This,
Wanda is the best example of the character that we have
yeah,
now.
of the Avengers,
Yeah.
Wanda is easily the one who has the best stories.
And they're doing a good job with her. Her show was really good.
Yeah.
It wasn't just her, obviously, but it kind of was too because she made everybody. But you know, it's a fucking thing. She's a juicy character. She's a good character. I would much rather have seen a Wanda movie than Captain Marvel or Black Widow. But I'm also a mutant fanboy, so
Sure,
yeah.
sure. You would want that movie to have Magneto in it.
Well, no. Not just for reasons. Don't associate
all
me
right,
with
all
those
right.
guys.
I'm not gonna pigeonhole you
Come
like
on,
that.
man. I wasn't looking for Sir
Sorry.
Ian McKellen in that shit. That was crazy. People are weird, dude.
People are pretty
Weird.
weird
Professor Xavier in WandaVision. Why? Oh.
because she went crazy, and he teaches mutants how to control their powers, and she's a mutant.
Yeah,
Not yet. She isn't.
No,
Come
I
on.
mean, she's Scarlet Witch now. Anyway.
I mean, her mutant powers were dumb anyway. She didn't really go anywhere until she learned real magic.
It's just a thing. Where was that? Is that the why is Black Widow question? It was.
That was the why is Black Widow question.
There you have it.
Okay. Shad asks, Taskmaster. So we're into the Black Widow questions now. Taskmaster, run with it or start again with the actual character? I would run with it. Yeah. I know that's not going to be the popular answer. And certainly they could make it fit easily to just say, well, there was a person before her in the Taskmaster program who doesn't need a chip in their brain. That the Taskmaster program is based on this guy because he can just do it naturally. And there he is out in the world. But I don't expect they will do that because this is slightly different from the Trevor Slattery fake Mandarin stuff, where that character, both the faked actor and Guy Pearce, had a one movie arc. They were done at the end of that film. You know, Trevor, there's nothing you can do with the fake actor guy in future movies, and Guy Pearce was killed.
He was.
So and also like they had. The Guy Pearce stuff doesn't explain the 10 rings existing in Iron Man 1 at all. It doesn't fit the established continuity of the MCU. So they had to address where the 10 rings came from and eventually have a real Mandarin in a later movie. Which is what they're doing with Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So this Taskmaster, while being different personality wise and in origin of powers wise from, I hate to say his name because I hate that book, but Tony Masters. Mm-hmm. It's just the easiest way to communicate to people who I'm talking about. So the difference between Antonia and Tony is not so great that Antonia cannot just later become a male or a female Tony. You know, just keep putting her in movies and gradually develop her a personality and eventually have her act like comics Taskmaster. I think that would work fine. Whereas, like, if they had killed Antonia off, then obviously I would be 100% saying now they need to introduce the real Tony.
Yes. I think for in this case specifically, I think that you can do both if you want. Like the one
You could
doesn't
do
really
both.
preclude the other in this case. It could still work either way and have a different guy be the taskmaster that we're familiar with. It's still
I mean,
okay.
it's the interesting thing is they introduce Yelena as okay, so she's free from the Red Room and can choose her own destiny and doesn't have to be like a hired hitman anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing she does after the movie's over is start uh, being a hired hitman
Yeah.
for Julia Louis Dreyfus.
Mm-hmm. She do.
So Antonio went off at the end of the movie with
The widows.
Rachel Weisz and Red Guardian. Like she was sort of adopted into the Black Widow family. So maybe wherever we see them next might be where we see her next. They might become her handlers as she becomes like an international mercenary. Which is whatever she does next from there lends itself to the classic Taskmaster of just this person who will take any job for the money and doesn't have the morals of like no killing people is wrong. You know? Like just fucking Taskmaster is fucking Bihan, all right? He's Sub-Zero.
There's nothing about Dracov's daughter lady that specifically ties her and makes much significance with Taskmaster really. And which is why I
Well,
think there
I mean,
could be
she's
another
still
one
I
easily.
don't think you can survive having all that kind of technology ripped out of the back of your neck. So she's probably going to keep
Oh
the
yeah, no,
ability to
yeah,
copy moves,
that's
even
fine.
if like if
Yes.
they introduce Tony Masters and as a separate character, and she stops calling herself
Did people
Taskmaster.
call her Taskmaster in that movie?
No, they never. They say they say she's from the Taskmaster Protocol.
Okay. I mean that even more so lends itself to there being plenty of room for another one.
And she has obviously Taskmaster's costume and a
She
fucking
does, yeah.
shield with a T on it. It's
Yeah, no, yeah. She's got
so
the
certainly
things.
she could brand herself Taskmaster the next time she shows up, and it would not make sense.
Yes.
But like even if they introduce a separate Taskmaster and she doesn't use the name and he does, she'll still be around and she'll still have Taskmaster's powers, and it'll be like an awkward OC Donut still exists who appears and stuff. So they might as well just keep her as Taskmaster
Good. Yeah.
rather than basically have two Taskmasters.
Not that I'm dying for more Taskmaster. Like, I legitimately like forgot about all this shit once like right after the movie went off, and all I remember from it is Yelena and Red Guardian. Like, and Yelena's the one that I'm thinking about. Oh, it'd be cool to see her do this in the future. This be doing in the future. Not Taskmaster. Not that
Well,
shit.
sure, but I think Marvel does tend to try and repair things that are not popular, but they don't do it in a way where it's throw it out and start over. They
Oh
try to
yeah.
make them
Yeah.
fit within. So what they'll do most likely is take Antonia and keep using her as Taskmaster, but give her have her doing the stuff that Taskmaster is popular for doing from now on. The next time she shows up.
Yeah.
That's just
I think that's the
what
most
I
likely
think they
scenario.
will
Yeah.
do, and I think it makes the most sense. I think the people who are complaining the loudest will not like that. They will want their Tony Masters, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, I don't care to do anything about it. Yeah. Come on, man.
I think so. The Marvel Comics universe has a lot of mercenaries.
Yeah.
And Taskmaster's best stories involve him working with or competing against those characters. And it's Deadpool and Bullseye and Batroc the Leaper. Well, we have a universe where Deadpool and maybe Bullseye haven't been introduced yet. I don't know how much they'll keep of the Netflix shows when they bring them into the MCU proper.
But like they have brought in one character.
Right.
From
The Batroc just died. So there is kind of a hole where it's like, well, who are you going to get if you want to do a story with a mercenary in it? And it's like, well, here's one. And that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No,
And also, like,
agree.
I say, like, obviously they are gearing towards like a Dark Avengers and
Yes.
or a Thunderbolts, maybe both separately.
Yeah.
Taskmaster could certainly be on one of those teams.
Good.
Just like Ghost after Ant-Man 2 will probably show up on one of those teams.
Yep. I agree. Oh,
So,
wait,
yeah,
that wasn't the Black Widow question. That was the Taskmaster. Okay.
Yeah, that was Shad had other questions. His second question is, how long until we straight up see Thanos getting arrested in a glimpse of an alternate universe? You know, like just put his hands behind his back and put him into the cop car, because
Yeah.
we've seen that in comics.
Um.
I don't know if we'll see that exact scene, but I predict that if the What If show lasts beyond like if it gets multiple seasons and it's still around when they introduce the X-Men, I could see an episode of What If that asks the question, what if mutants had shown up to the Thanos fight?
Yeah.
And that What If ends with Squirrel Girl being the one who takes him down.
That'd be tight. You do that, or Deadpool.
I think that
Deadpool also.
that would be an amusing What If.
I agree.
And a cute reference to the comics.
Squirrel Girl. Everybody wants Squirrel Girl, man.
Another Shad's final question: will Dracula ever give Moon Knight his goddamn money?
We want.
All right, that wasn't. Yeah, I just. Are we back to recording? Is it
We
on
are
again? Or?
back to recording.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that I want to see a whole Midnight Suns corner of the MCU where Blade and Dracula fighting happens, Moon Knight fights werewolves, there's like all kinds of Morbius and fucking
Not Mobius.
Morbius.
Morbius.
The living vampire.
From that movie.
Preferably not the Jared Leto version.
You don't want Jared Leto?
I don't want Jared Leto to exist in the world.
That seems harsh. I mean,
he can live. Just stop being famous and in movies, and maybe don't have a sex island anymore.
man.
I don't know. Who am I to stop on another guy's dreams?
Just sometimes you want to destroy something beautiful.
No, but I want to see fucking Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
I love that his name is Jack Russell and he's a werewolf.
I see what they're doing.
That's a good one. That's good. I want to see all the Ghost Riders. I want to see like, I'm Dan Ketch. I'm the current Ghost Rider, and here's my old grizzled brother Johnny, who's now not a Ghost Rider anymore. But look at his ponytail and his shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to get to that point, because that was the good stuff.
You want the mammoth one?
Yeah, I want to see the flashback to the previous generations of Ghost Riders and the things they rode.
That fucking flaming mammoth. I mean, that would be pretty fucking intimidating.
That was
Mammoths
some
large.
that was some comic book comic books is what
What that was. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. That's when they're using the medium right.
Man. I mean, it's weird as fuck, but like, I really fucking like the idea of Odin making out with the Phoenix Force. It sounds so stupid, but it's okay because it's Odin. Like, I can't say it's that stupid.
I mean, there are some. I have some continuity problems with. I mean, Jason Aaron makes up whatever the fuck he wants,
Yes,
whether
yeah,
it contradicts comics from before him or not.
Absolutely.
I don't think the Odin from that long ago should be wielding Mjolnir. But then again, Mjolnir was introduced in Thor 1 as having sat in the Odin's trophy room for a long ass time.
Yeah.
Like way back when Thor and Loki were kids.
Right.
So maybe Odin did use it when he was younger. I don't know. I wish they would show him using Gungnir and riding Sleipnir more often if they're
Yeah.
going to show younger Odin.
And well,
Like
I mean,
show Odin, like make Odin's weapons cool instead
Yes.
of making everything about Mjolnir.
I agree. I mean, Mjolnir is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
But
but it's not the only famous Norse weapon.
and Thor is not as effective and never has been as Odin was.
Certainly.
Odin's broke. Odin's ridiculous.
Well, Odin's
He made
not.
out with the Phoenix Force.
Odin is known for a lot of things that aren't thunder.
Well,
He doesn't
yes.
need Mjolnir.
No. Odin's sick. He's a god of war, and his weapon of choice is fucking knowledge and wisdom. He's pretty tight. He's interesting.
I don't know if I need to be told that the Black Panther identity is so old the cavemen used it.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a little much.
yeah, I agree.
Same with the Iron Fist. I don't need Iron Fist to be from caveman times. Like 1 or 2,000 years ago. Like let's stick to like the something realistically within the history of the invention of martial arts.
I agree. Or just do it, but it's not like an Earth thing. Like
I mean,
you don't have to
well,
start
so
here with humans and
obvious.
shit.
Obviously, Iron Fist's powers are tied to a dragon who lets you punch him in the heart.
Right? Yeah.
So, however old that dragon is, should be the upper limit of how old Iron Fist can be.
Shu Lao in the fucking Heavenly City and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you can take that, but like you can do it not Earth based.
I think they force things a little much to try to find recognizable mantles for the BC
Yes,
Avengers.
Absolutely, they did. That's 100% true.
Yeah,
it is the case.
But I would be open to seeing some of those characters, just not that far back in time.
I agree. I'm in there. What question was that for?
That was.
Is that still
the question was, will Dracula ever give Moon Knight his goddamn money?
Well, we answered that for him.
The answer is no.
Yeah, we probably will. I mean, why would he? He's Dracula.
500 followed that up by asking, will killing Nicolas Cage bring back their honey? Which, probably not, and also I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I don't... Look, Nick Cage, as much as I like him, Ghost Rider is not the character he should be playing.
Do you want to make him an Elder of the Universe?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's put him somewhere in the cosmic, and let's pick a Johnny Blaze who looks and acts like Johnny Blaze. How about that?
That's fine with me. That works.
Yeah, I want my Johnny Blaze to look like a real ass trailer trash redneck guy with like the floppy blonde hair. I want Norman Reedus as Johnny Blaze.
We've talked about this on this show, I think.
Yes, we probably have.
We have. I think we talked about Keanu Reeves and Norman Reedus both.
Yeah,
decent picks.
I mean, Keanu should probably be Dan Ketch, but also maybe Dan Ketch shouldn't be that old. Yeah. That's the problem with Ghost Rider, is that all the best actors for it are now like 50.
They put him in the MCU first. Like, I mean, I don't know when that's going to happen. They can do it anytime they want.
I could probably think of a better Keanu character.
Oh, God. Dude, the internet's been doing that.
I mean, they've been fan casting him as literally everybody.
Fucking Mephisto.
I maybe would have... Namor? Maybe?
Keanu Reeves?
Maybe. I mean, you need to pick somebody who people give a shit about, because Namor is not inherently interesting.
I agree. Well,
you need to pick an interesting actor to make up for. And to be fair, I think Namor has now been cast, and I don't remember what actor they cast for him, but they're going Hispanic
I think you're
with it.
right.
And also, I think he's kind of. I don't recognize the guy. I'm not going to say he's an unknown. He's probably been in stuff people have heard of, but I don't know who he is. So
Well,
he's unknown to me.
do you think that
And
they took care of that with Kang here?
they have definitely picked a very interesting and talented actor to play Kang the Conqueror.
But like going into
Jonathan
it,
Majors.
yeah.
I didn't know who he is before this, but I have heard like other people have watched stuff he's been in, particularly the show Lovecraft Country. I'm told that's very good,
That's what I hear.
and that he is very good in it, and that him being a great actor shouldn't be a surprise if you've seen that before. So I don't know if that's the case with the guy they picked for Namor, and I hope he's good because boy, he's going to have to make up for the fact that Namor kind of sucks.
Yeah, like I mean, well, there's just a lot riding on it. Like if he's gonna bring that whole slice into the universe, like you got to put it on someone who people's gonna give a shit about. It's a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that they know that. I feel like that should be a thing that's Marvel's bread and butter. The MCU's
I hope
bread and
so.
butter. That's what they do.
I hope so. The other thing, like Namor, I think his first thing will be as the villain of Black Panther 2. Which that movie already has some challenges in front of that if they're
man.
really gonna do this shit where like we're not recasting T'Challa, so where the fuck is T'Challa gonna be? Or is he gonna die off screen? Is he just gonna be the king off screen and go like, I'm too busy, someone else has to be Black Panther from now? How are you gonna deal with the fact that your main character can't be in front of the camera?
It hurts.
Why would you not just recast?
It hurts, man.
It's gonna be so stupid.
I don't like thinking about it. It is.
I don't think that movie's gonna work. I have concerns.
I got concerns too. I think you're probably right. It bums me out. It makes me sad because I like Black Panther, and I like Black Panther as to where they got him in the MCU up until.
And
that
look,
point.
Chadwick was great.
He was really good,
but he's not. The man and the character are two different people. Just because he died in the real world doesn't mean nobody can ever play T'Challa ever again.
Like you don't have to explain this to me. I understand.
Right. I'm explaining it for the people listening.
Okay,
we're doing a podcast. People, there's an audience.
Well, okay. There are.
I mean, obviously, like they wanted to make a gesture on the internet and have Twitter applaud them. Couldn't the gesture just be, okay, we're gonna wait, we're gonna give it 5 years, and then we'll do Black Panther 2 after people are no longer mourning. Just give it some time instead of going, no, we're not gonna recast, but we're also gonna do it right away. Not their best move.
Listen,
so we'll see, because my point is the movie Namor's going to be in has a lot of hurdles to overcome. Namor himself being kind of a shitty character is just another hurdle. Maybe the actor can clear it. We'll see.
I hope so. Yeah, I don't like thinking about that movie. I'm not because I'm convinced it's going to bomb or it's going to suck, but it might. There's so many problems, too many questions.
Yeah. It just raises too many questions.
Too many questions.
One last question. Mm-hmm. Snake Eyes asks, in which timeline do motherfuckers actually ice skate uphill?
Is this a reference?
I would say the timeline that totally exists somewhere in the multiverse where Wesley Snipes is Blade is that universe.
I don't get the reference.
You don't know about the motherfuckers who are always trying to ice skate uphill?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, one of them was Steven Dorff.
Fucking.
It didn't work out for him.
Whatever his name is, Deacon Frost.
Yeah, Deacon Frost. He was one of the motherfuckers who was always trying to ice skate uphill.
Well,
he did not succeed. I think Snake Eyes is looking for a timeline where he succeeds.
Okay. All right.
I don't think it exists.
Man, I didn't like Deacon Frost in that movie.
I thought. Look, he's looking back. He's totally cliche for like vampire villains, and like there are a dozen characters like that in other movies. Like I referenced fucking Kiefer Sutherland. He played just such a vampire. There's a character in Angel, the spinoff of Buffy, where there's a guy just like him, but he's not a vampire. He's like a lawyer who works for a law
Yeah.
firm made up of demons.
Yep.
That guy was totally a Deacon Frost. It is in horror fantasy stuff of the 90s.
As the 90s.
The sexy blonde man was definitely a trope.
It was. But he was. Never mind. I'm gonna say that.
But
yeah.
that said, I think that trope served that movie well. I think it did what it needed to do. It was the right villain for the time. We are now past that time.
Yeah. And
but for the time.
I just don't. Well, but just in general, like I said, I don't want to do daddy shit. Daddy issues in that first movie.
Right, I get it.
You get daddy shit through a lot of other movies.
I want Dracula.
Yeah, just do something cool. Go big. Don't go. Damn it! You fucking fucked my mom, like or whatever the hell happened. Like, damn it, dude.
Yeah. I want to ask Marvel, where's my Dracula, you big fucking nerds?
I mean, why not? You know?
Why not?
Why not?
Just do it. Just go all in.
Just
Dracula's a Marvel character. Be Marvel. Go full Marvel.
He's public domain as fuck, so he's
yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, go all in. Did you see fucking Kang the Conqueror costume on that statue? Just go off.
Yeah, he was wearing the tunic and the collar.
Yeah, dude, he was the fucking the baggy clothes. It was baggy. That wasn't armor and justice shit. It was baggy.
No, it was baggy. It was cloth. Kang the Conqueror is gonna wear Kang the Conqueror's fucking outfit.
Just do it.
Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
No. Man. That's it. We reached the end of the timeline.
We did it.
We're fucking, man. We reached the end of the timeline.
Another mission accomplished.
And they said, guess what? There's another timeline. We're going to come back.
Yeah, we'll be back for season 2 of episodes.
Yeah, we will. That'll be fun. That's a fun surprise. I'm looking forward to that. Who's not?
I'm incredibly happy that there's a season 2. I don't think this show needed to be a self-contained 6-episode show.
No.
I think just keep going. Just keep going. Don't stop. I'm enjoying it. Don't stop the ride. I'm not ready to get off yet.
Yeah, and it's not just more, but for the sake of more. Like no, the other ones had a logical conclusion, and they like.
Yeah, no, it made total sense. We talked about that, like introducing Kang.
Yeah.
Makes the season 2 like it all fits. It's all working. It's working.
and yeah, it's fucking. I've heard a lot of people say that this is the best season of Doctor Who in a long time, and they're right. It's fantastic.
I don't personally watch Doctor Who, but I can see the commonalities.
I watched a lot of Doctor Who.
I think if Doctor Who had always been about Loki, I would watch Doctor Who.
I mean, but they kind of are, but they kind of act that way a lot of the time.
Yeah, I get my problem with Doctor Who is its roots in 60s TV. I find it too corny.
Well, no, it is corny. It's fuck. It's true.
And obviously, like, that's a dumb thing to say about when we're positively reviewing a show based on comic books, which have been around for the same amount of time.
Yes, they have.
It's not too corny. It's too British. It
is British.
Don't like Doctor Who because it's too British.
It's very British. But Tom Hiddleston here is pretty British. That lady who's his companion, the Doctor's companion, she's also pretty British.
I get it.
You know, you get it. It's a thing. Like it was on there like golden. Like, no, we're doing this. Like they knew it was Doctor Who when they were doing it.
I'm picky. Look, if I hadn't been a child when I was first introduced to Kirk and Spock, if I was an adult trying to watch Star Trek TOS, I would probably not get into Star Trek TOS.
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel about Doctor Who now. Like, I'm an adult, it's too late for that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. One
I'm
bit.
not the right age to forgive the parts that are just nostalgic.
There's that, and that show, like, it does have its logic problems.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
It,
My
I that's the other thing about Doctor Who is that it does not handle time travel in a way that I feel is well done.
No, there's definitely, but like my wife was into it for a while, and we watched a whole bunch of the seasons of it. Um, it was, you know, but it wasn't
It's
bad. Like
too
there were definitely like moments where they used the time travel in ways that like, oh, there's a character moment. This is good. This is
certainly,
nice and
certainly.
sweet.
I would compare it to the Terminator movies, where like the time travel was done well in this one, but then they made 7 of them.
Yeah,
That's how I feel about Doctor Who.
and I mean, like, yeah, and they pick the character moments they want to do, and it's like, oh, then hand wavy that this is how it works to get there. Like, whatever, like, it doesn't really add up, but it feels over like, the logic and
I
mechanics,
get it.
which
I
is
get it.
fine. It's fine.
I understand
It's
why
fine.
people like Doctor Who. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I would much rather watch this than Doctor Who. So this is the good best Doctor Who.
Yeah, this is the best Doctor Who
This is
because
the
it's the one I'll watch.
yeah. I'm gonna watch the fuck out of it next time. Man, more Mobius.
Look, he has more opportunities to say wow
I
in the
really,
future.
I hope that he takes one fucking self-defense class. Maybe he's a badass fighter in this new timeline. And he's not just getting parried and pushed over all the time. Like, dude, fucking, she like pushed your ass over and took that stick out of your hand. You didn't do jack shit. Come on. Come
I don't
on.
know.
Come
And
on.
Owen Wilson, even when he was in his physical prime, was the guy who hid behind a thing and shot a gun while Jackie Chan did the
He's
fight.
not a fighter. Like, yeah, that's a thing. But like, if you want to stay in this job, in this venue where you're fighting,
To be fair, he plays a character that wears a suit and tie. He's
he
not
does.
he's not really the fighter.
But to be
I've
fair,
I'm sure as the seasons go on, it will be impossible to avoid writing a scene where he has to deck somebody.
like, Ravona also wears a suit.
Yeah, but she didn't always.
She didn't always. I'm sure that he wasn't wearing a suit on the jet ski. I don't think that was the case.
That's true. That's true. He probably will not be
Listen, I'm just saying, you know,
in a 3-piece with a tie on a jet ski.
stop getting parried every time you go for a fight, dude. That's the end of it. We did it. We're here.
That was it. We did it.
That was it. We're fucking over.
We did it, and we'll do it again.
Uh,
when is the next time we'll do it again? We covered this. What if is in August?
yeah, I think it's in August.
All right. Well.
So we'll be back here in August.